I thought Madison and KARLA went to second place.
And then he went there with them. That's what they told me.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Like there was no like...
Hey guys, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. Listen, we're talking to you guys about Married at First Sight. Yes, it's super panel time. You can tell I've had a little bit of a break. Listen, I don't eat my food today, so I'm ready to go. Energy galore. We're going to be here for the next 2 hours talking about Married at First Sight. Yes, we had a great conversation last night talking solely about, obviously, our good friend Alan and also Madison, Michelle, and David. They stole the show last night, and I'm sure they will steal it again next week. But today, we're opening it up so we can talk more than just about Alan and David and the four quartet. We're talking about JUAN and KARLA as well, which I'm going to mispronounce the name all the time, but it's JUAN and KARLA. We're going to talk obviously as well Thomas and Camille as a couple going into the show as well. And I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but I can't think of their name. It will come to me. But listen, we are here having another live show. Listen, talking to you about your favorite show. Listen, make sure you do me a massive favor. You are liking, you are sharing, you are subscribing. Yes, because as we continue on our journey this year, to 100K, you guys are liking, the sharing, and subscribing. It helps a whole lot. You know what I'm saying, Chew? So please, if you haven't done so, make sure you're liking, you're sharing, and you're subscribing. This is going to go to members only in the chat in a few minutes. So if you have not become a member, I see a lot of white names. And I don't mean that I mean that literally, not necessarily race-wise. I see a lot of white names. And so listen, the chat will go to members only. It's £1, it's $1. I've made it cheap so you don't have to die. Okay, all right? So if you haven't done so already, make sure you become a member. I'll put a link in the chat for you guys to sign up as well. But we are talking again once more about Married at First Sight. Well, first and foremost, let me tell you this now. The episode was crazy. Many of you will attest that the episode was made spicier by Michelle's investigation. Yes, she decided to investigate the happenstances between David and Madison, as they were obviously sneaking around like nobody's business. That was then exposed by Michelle, who decided to investigate like it was Cluedo and murder mysteries. Okay, and in the end, she found the clue, the murder weapon, and the murderer. So shout out to her for obviously exposing all that was happening. We also got to see a bit more of the David and Madison relationship. I think it was just for screens. Madison talking about how she liked David and wanted to see if they could explore things. We already knew they were exploring things, so that conversation was just for the TV. But we also got to see JUAN and KARLA. And I'll be honest with you, I skipped their scenes. I don't know what's really happening with JUAN and KARLA anymore. Because let's be honest, they've made a pact to just keep it going. Because there ain't no way JUAN is going to keep on avoiding KARLA. Ain't no way. So, I kind of left that to the side. But Thomas and Camille, you know what? I'll be honest with you. Thomas and Camille is quite interesting because we get to have a bit more of a conversation in regards to them talking about the future, talking about kids, talking about how, they are looking potentially in the future to become kids. And Thomas made us aware that he is a little bit afraid of the situation in terms of having kids. So, yes, this episode was quite the banger. I'll be honest with you, the other couples were overshadowed by David, Madison, Michelle, and Alan's situation. I'm sure this conversation will go the same way as that show too. Once more again, if you haven't done so, please make sure you join the membership. Make sure you're liking, you're sharing, and you are subscribing to the channel, because I'm going to bring up the super panel in a second or two. If you've watched any of my previous videos as well, I spoke about Michelle and I spoke about her manipulation, and I will talk a little bit more about Madison because we need to talk about Madison. Okay, now David is a whole damn lie. Okay, all right, David is a whole damn lie. Now David lied his butt off. Okay, he knew at a certain point that he had something in the bag. Right, so it was diabolical that he was still making claims about trying at a certain point, because we all knew that he wasn't trying anymore. Right, because at some point he started talking so he started talking to Madison. Now they said that they were talking at the gym perspective. Well, the gym thing was quite early. It was right after the honeymoon, or just during the honeymoon when he slept outside. Now that was cold. I can't lie to you, but they would have started their talking then, right? They were starting their talking then. And so at that point, where David is diabolical, and listen, hey, we've all done some crazy stuff. His behavior where it was diabolical, we must admit, is that he befriended Alan and used him as collateral damage. You knew that Madison wasn't feeling Alan at all. You know that because you were pushing up on her. We have to hold David accountable. Now, regardless of whether they were close friends, tight friends, whether he considered him a brother like Mufasa, it makes no difference. He befriended him, looked him in the eye, right? Drank drinks with him, okay? Sat down by campfires, had conversations, laughed, giggled, probably exchanged ideas and thoughts about their wives, and then betrayed him like Caesar with a knife in the back. Gotta talk about the diabolicalness of that. That is crazy work. People who can do that, listen, hey, compartmentalization is a real thing. And I got something in my hair. You know what I'm saying to you? Compartmentalization is a real thing. It will make you look evil. Okay? I mean, listen, I understand where it comes from. I'm not saying I don't, but I'm saying it was diabolical what he did. Okay, all right. It was diabolical what he did. Okay, so I have to be honest with that. I'm not even talking about him and Michelle. Forget the Michelle one. But David to Alan, that was diabolical, right? Even though he knew at a certain point that, you know what, Madison wasn't feeling Alan. And whilst I've taken people's girlfriends before, and I have to admit, so I'm not going to say this, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. I'm merely putting this so that I can let people know that I understand where it's coming from. But you have to also talk about the darkness within yourself as to why you're willing to do that. And why you're willing to play that role, number two, and why you're willing to look a man in the eye and do that. And that is a certain level of coldness, a certain level of detachment, a certain level of darkness. You know what I'm saying to you? Okay? All right? But I also understand that, yes, while they were friends, they are not the best of friends. This is different from your best friend and you stole their girl, which I understand. But it's a certain level of play acting, a certain level of compartmentalization, darkness within yourself, and insecurity within yourself that makes you be that cold. Yes, 6 weeks is enough time to become really good friends. But I also understand that whilst you are a good friend to me, don't mean I was a good friend to you. I also understand that perspective. But it's still dire freaking bolical. Still diabolical. Okay? The behavior is diabolical. I don't think they are diabolical. I think their behavior is diabolical. And I've been diabolical before, so I know what diabolical looks like. Alright? It was diabolical. But I'm going to say it again. They don't care. I'll be honest with you. Look, you don't care. If I'm really honest with you, you don't care. That's the problem with diabolical behavior oftentimes like this. You don't care. No matter what anybody says. Even though he apologized, he may feel sorry for maybe hurting Alan, but he don't really care. You don't. Most people who do this, I'm telling you from first-hand experience, you do not care. And that's why it's diabolical, because you just don't care. You know what I'm saying to you? You just don't care. And that's why he did it in the first place. Right? So we do have to hold David accountable for that diabolical behavior. Okay? All right? And we'll see in the next few weeks what kind of apology he gives to Alan. That will let us know whether he really is sorry for what he did. I'll be honest with you, my personal experience from the past, I wasn't sorry. Now, I might have lied and said sorry, but I don't really feel that. You know, you don't want to be too cold, but really and truly, you don't really care. You don't. And you're not going to be. You say you're sorry in the immediate moment, but really, are you sorry? You're not sorry. You're not really sorry. You're not really sorry. So, yeah. So, yeah. That's that part there as well. Also, Madison. It's much deeper for Madison because she had to play a role for a longer time. Okay? It's much deeper for Madison because she had to look that man in the eye. Okay? She had to look that man in the eye every night. And do you know what's really crazy? Is that at one point, Alan says something, yeah? And it's why you can't cheat and go back, you know? I'm telling you, listen, look, I'm just going to be real with you. You cheat and you go back, you can't look at that person in the same way. I'm just going to be honest with you. from my experience, especially women, I'm just going to say this maybe a little bit one-sided, but I think that when women cheat, it is like 90% you can't go back. The level of disgust and disdain that women tend to have for men after they cheat on them, you can't go back. Like, Negroes be cheating and they didn't like you anyway. Do you know what I mean? But this one with Madison, that woman has a disdain for him. There is no coming back. There's no coming back. And it's not a bad thing. It's just a reality of life. In fact, I love what Sadia Khan says. Listen, a woman that cheats on you like that, there is no going back. You can't go back. You're not saving that relationship. It's very different. There's a disdain and a disgust for the person that you cheated on. That's how she got to that place in the first place. So, you know, I was like, I felt for him. I think he mentioned it. I'm going to try and see if I can find a clip where he actually said it. He said actually the words that, you know, there was a disgust that she had for him. She was looking at him. Let me see if I can find a clip for you guys and see. I want to see if I can get you a clip. But yeah. So I you know, again, I say this to say, listen, I definitely understand it, but like I said, this situation is whacked, it's finished. In fact, I'll put a poll up in the chat and see what you guys say. Whether you believe, listen, if a woman cheats, can it come back? Can there be a comeback if a woman cheats? If a woman cheats, is that relationship over? Is that relationship over? Yes or no? Put that on the chat. I think that relationship, it was done before anyway. You know what I mean? Yeah. Someone said, I'm Switzerland. Madison, please. Like, it's peak. I see my panelists are behind the scenes as well, so we're gonna get them in a second or two as well. But yeah, no, it was diabolical. Okay, because it was diabolical because obviously she had direct access to Alan, and not only that, we have to go back now, and that's why I haven't done a video on Madison just yet. I have to go back because I have to go back through the scenes with the experts. In order to do a Madison video, I can't just give you a video of this. I have to go back and find the clips, because I remember conversations between herself and the experts and the gaslighting that took place. So those conversations where, you know, he did bring up how he felt, like with, I think it was Dr. Carl, Dr. PR, or what was it? I don't know, whoever one was. And she was saying in her moments that actually for her, you know, the affection, she's trying to be affectionate. But that woman couldn't be affectionate because she had disgust and disdain for him because she was already cheating on him. Okay? And she wasn't even giving him none. She wasn't even giving him none. And this is what we call sexual loyalty. Okay? We call this sexual loyalty. She cannot give him some because she's sexually loyal to David. Yo, hey, when you live the life in Egypt, you have seen some things. Look, sexual loyalty, I'm going to tell you something, yeah? Can I just say this? The reason why I believe that a lot of times that the woman can't go back, yeah, is because of what we call sexual loyalty. I'm going to tell you something. If she goes and sleeps with David, but she didn't get to sleep with Oil Boy Allen. So to be honest, you know, it's difficult. But when I say sexual loyalty, what I mean is this: if David is hitting it right, I'm just gonna be real with you. I want to keep it 100% now. If David is hitting it correctly, sexual loyalty will be placed on his side. You know what I mean? If he's hitting it correctly, I'm not talking about they're just having sex and that's why she went. If he's hitting it correctly, she ain't going nowhere, because he would have been the person who has done the best job. You don't leave the person oftentimes who's done the best job. Not with there being without some severe aspects. So the fact that she didn't even give Alan a play, there's nothing to even compare with. She would have never gone back to Alan. There was no chance. He never had a chance. Maybe if he had hit it once and it was a correct hit, she might have been like, oh, okay, you know what? Let me try and test it a little bit. But because there was none, there is no going back. Like, it's actually none going back. Okay? That doesn't mean, I'm not saying that she can't ever cheat on David. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that sexual loyalty takes place. Sexual loyalty takes place. It's a sad world when that happens to you, bro. It's a sad world when that happens to you, bro. Anyway, let's get into the show. You know what I mean? That was just me just telling you some informations. You know? Because it's a lot right now. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find a clip where he said about the discuss. It was Pete, man. I felt for the kid, man. Oh, I found a clip, guys. I found the clip. My poor boy was done dirty. I found a clip, and now once I play it, we're gonna start this show. Because let me tell you that now, sexual loyalty like that is painful, bro. I'm thinking about my past situation. That hit me heavy. Done me dirt, blood. All right, cool. Let me just play the clip. It's a clip for you. This is when he said it, okay?
You know when that's not there, and you can see how somebody looks at you. I mean, there's been times where literally, like even tonight, you look at me with disgust.
I'm just saying, the fact that he registered that she looked at him with disgust was enough for me. Was enough for me. Was enough for me. All right. That's very painful. Can't lie to you. But he did see it. You know what I mean? You know, I felt for the kid. You know what I'm saying to you? We've all been there. And we feel for you, Alan. You know what I'm saying to you? I have been there. And trust me, there was no going back for me. I remember when it happened. And when I spoke to the girl in question, I was disgusted that she cheated. I was just disgusted. I was like, I'm disgusted. I cannot look at you the same way. You know what I'm saying to you? So I know how difficult it can be. You know what I'm saying to you? I remember how heartbroken it was, how heartbroken I was at the time. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, your whole world is crashing down beside you, bro. I understand it. You know what I'm saying to you? Yeah. But that breaking, sometimes you need that breaking. Just to become the real man you need to become. To break the fantasy that we have. Sometimes fantasy of the way we look at the world. You need to be broken to be rebuilt. Right? Sometimes that heartbreak is to break you to rebuild you because you had a wrong idea about the opposite sex. And I remember at the time I had a wrong idea about women. I really was, you know, I pedestalized them in the way I behaved. Just like Alan was doing. I pedestalized them. I mean, you don't think to yourself that you're doing it, but you are doing it. You know what I'm saying to you? Where you're not putting yourself first, you put them first. And you don't actually have your own identity. And that you need to destroy that, break that, and rebuild that. He has been saved. Look, Madison's not the right kind of person for him, you know? She accused him of being this kind of crazy drunk. And this is another thing. When people don't like you, stuff that Madison was doing where she projected about the drinking, that is what we're talking about. She don't like you. You know what I mean? Right? When she spoke about the drinking and that's why he fought back. You start realizing when you try to hold her accountable and she now tries to fight you and gaslight you, that's another indication she don't like you. When you were holding her accountable, she was fighting it. But when she wants to hold you accountable, you have to accept it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel for you, man. It's political. But listen, let's bring the panelists on, because you know we gotta get this conversation flowing. It's political, you know. He did have a dream. He did have a dream, and that's my final thing. I said this before. I said, listen, you can cheat on me, but trust and know that I'm gonna find out, because you feel it energetically. And this is another thing as well. I just want to say, look, if you really are in tune with your partner, you really care about them. When it gets to a certain distance in your relationship, you should start feeling it. Right? Energetically, you can feel it. The way they're texting you, you can feel it. The way they message. Do you know, it's so interesting. Let me tell you something. His delusion, I know exactly what that delusion. I remember when it happened to me, yeah, I remember the first day it changed. The way the girl texted me, no love you I said I love you and no love you back. I said, oh, something's changed. But I wanted to be delusional about it and say, no, you know what? It's okay, like, but from that day, her energy had shifted. But, you know, I wanted to pretend as if it weren't happening. You know what I'm saying? Right? But you can feel the energy shifting when somebody who you were in tandem with is suddenly out of sync. You can feel it. They cheat on you. You can know. Listen, people think, oh, people are dumb. They're not dumb, you know. Like, even your body, your smell is going to change. Y'all think you can just cheat and be free. Your smell is going to change. You know what I'm saying to you? Your body odor begins to change. You have different smells that come onto you, right? Even we're talking about, you know, if we're talking about down below, that changes. You can't be cheating and thinking that you're going to get away with it, because if the person's really in tune, and this is when I know that people are not in tune, that this up here changes and here down here changes. Those two things change. So if you're in tune, you will sense that something smells a little bit different. It doesn't smell like me no more. You know what I'm saying to you? And this don't connect with me no more. And this don't connect with me no more. So when you really are in tune with people and you really are in sync, you will sense it. The way they talk, the way they say certain things, your name, somebody else's name will come in their mouth too much. Like, there's things that start happening. When you touch them, oh! Come on now, let's be real. You can't even hug your person because they're like, you touch them, they're like, oh. Things change. You know what I'm saying to you? Things change, so you got to pay attention. People need to pay attention. Both men and women need to pay attention, and don't be naive. I've been there before, so I know. Like, you know what I'm saying to you? That's just me being real. As grown individuals, people start changing on you. Like, forget routines. Their behaviors in front of you are literally changing. And so you start to notice when you are into that person as well. You know what I mean? So I feel for the kid. You know what I'm saying to you? I'm not blaming him again. I'm just saying I feel for the kid. It's just, it's tight, man. You know what I'm saying to you? It's tight. It's just, whew. I feel for the kid, you know? Yeah. You learn some things. Okay. Cool. Let me get the panelists on the stage now, because obviously, like I said, we are having our conversation. We're going to talk everything. Love is blind. Love is blind. Right at first sight. But let me get my panelists on the stage. You know who she is, baby. But before I do, let me get to members only, because we are now going into our live, people. So we're going to go members only. If you're not a member in the chat, there is a link in there. Okay, click on it. And you can become a member as well. We'd love to have you on a part of the team and a part of the family. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you guys become part of the membership. So let me just do this quickly so we get this in there. And make it members only. Holy, 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 money on my mind. Someone faces. I can't even. Okay, what's going on? I can't even do it. Okay, I have to later. There we go. There we go. Members only. I was like, stopping me from doing it. All right, cool. Members only. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Phil. Once again, Phil. We appreciate you, Phil. Okay, we appreciate you. Phil out here leading the race in the pack with all these damn memberships. Thank you, Phil. We appreciate you, Captain. We appreciate you. God bless you. All right. Let's get into this. Let's get into this. Let me welcome the first person onto the stage. You know who she is. She's been around the world. Been around the world, the world, the world. I can't find my baby. You know what I'm saying? You know who she is, baby. She's been around the globe. She's been around the world. Okay, all right? And she always brings a blessing of different thoughts to the table. Welcome to the stage, Latoya, baby. How you doing, sis? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm calling in from Los Angeles. Okay, that's where I'm at right now today. I'm ready to get it in. Like, if there was an Emmy to give out an award for this episode, this show gets the Emmy. I'm ready.
I love that. I love that. Yes, Latoya, we thank you. I'm loving the hair too, baby. Loving the look. Come on now.
Thank you.
No worries. Appreciate you. Now, our next person coming up onto the stage, you already know who he is. Okay, all right. He's the king of whack-a-mole, okay, because he gonna get them all. Gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon. Yeah. Listen, you know who he is. Listen, he gonna tear someone a new singlet as always, and he gonna keep it real. Welcome to the stage, Phil, baby. What you telling me, Phil?
Thank you, good sir. Thank you.
No worries at all, Captain.
Carnage.
It's good to have you on board. Carnage. Yeah?
I am on Madison's neck tonight. Michelle gonna get it. David, it's up. It's smoke when I see you. You got to catch that fade, bro.
I love it. And I'm with it. Okay. Our next person coming up to the stage, you know who he is. Long-standing member. Okay. This is a brother who travels around the world. I can't find my baby. He is a world traveler. Okay. He's always calling in from wherever he docked at. Okay. All right. And the brother's always going to give us the wisdom and a story to the table, to the T. And we appreciate him. Yeah. Brother T, welcome to the stage. Trey, baby. What you telling me, Captain?
Feeling like a hard Negro tonight. Let's get to it.
I like it. You know you're ready to go.
Let's get to it.
You know, black. I'm scared of somebody's funeral. Okay, gunshot for head. All right, next person coming up to the stage. All right, you know who he is too. Okay, from the north to the south to the west and to the east. Okay, all right. This is a brother that is Amazon. What? You already know what it is. Okay, we got prime time EASTON. Welcome to the stage. What are you telling me, brother?
What's up? You know, on a victory tour, you know, feeling a little vindicated from yesterday. I'm going to push that into today. I want to, you know, shout out to the chat, shout out to the panelists. We're going to have a lot of carnage. Hold everybody accountable, but for sure, Alan.
He's still on Alan, he said. Poor Alan, he's not getting a rest. All right, listen, look, I know that a couple of people will join us in a few minutes as well. But look, let's talk about it, okay? Let's talk about it because in reality, obviously, we know who we're going to talk about in the end, so I'll leave them to the end. Let's first talk about, obviously, Thomas and Camille, at least, you know, before we dive into the main shenanigans of today. Thomas and Camille, I want to get you guys' thoughts. You know, they had a conversation in a bathtub. They spoke about the future, you know, and it seemed like, obviously, kids is in the question as well. Still haven't sorted out the apartment yet, but a kid's situation is likely to be next. I want to get you guys' thoughts about what your perspective was on their conversation. They were also asleep when David and Michelle happened, so to be fair, they've turned into the grandma and granddad. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. Latoya, break us in a little bit easy, you know what I mean? Talk to us.
Well, as everybody already know, they're not the most exciting couple right now. So, you know, you listen, and, you know, don't judge. But I think, like, I totally resonated with a person like Thomas, where you could sort of see like his fear of not wanting to procreate for whatever. And I'm sure it probably goes back to like his upbringing and things like that. But for me, as long as Camille is on board with wanting to have kids, I think if they work out, they'll eventually figure out like how that will really work. I mean, Thomas said if he did want to do it, he wants to do it now. even though he's afraid, and Camille is like 2 years. I believe that they can meet somewhere in the middle on that. And yeah, give it a little bit of time to really uncover what the why, as to why both want to, why one wants to wait and one wants to like kind of hurry it along. But as I totally felt Thomas, like I'm not necessarily been the most gun-ho person about having kids, but if that's God's plan, like we could do it, but we just got to talk a little bit more about it. That's how I felt about it.
Love that. Trey, let me ask you, obviously, brother, Thomas seems like he's in a rush, or he's a little bit afraid, it seems. I mean, I shouldn't say that actually. More Camille's actually said she's got like 5 years on it. Well, she said you want to be 42, but basically. But Thomas seemed to be slowing it down a little bit. What's your thoughts on this? Like, is that a good indication or a bad indication or anything like that? How did you perceive it?
When I heard Thomas say or convey his fears on having kids, I totally understood it, and it was good to actually hear that. That tells me that he's going to take this very seriously when it comes to his children and the family that he's trying to build. I believe every man, listen, you got to have some sort of fear, because that's when things really hit for you. Like, no, this is real, this is serious. And he also doesn't want to carry the traumas that he went through to his own children. He wants to do better. He wants to change the narrative and provide something better than what he had. So it's understandable for him to have these fears. And I'm glad he was able to talk about it. You know, he's not saying he wants kids, of course, but yeah, I do worry that what type of father I'm going to be, or how we're going to do this and that third. It's a discussion that needs to be talked about. Him and Camille, I wouldn't say they're too far from the same page. She said within 2 years, he's like immediately, whatever. They ain't too far off. If they do stay together and this goes forward within a year or so, who knows? It's probably what will happen within a year or so. Probably like 2 years, what she was saying. That is a little bit more feasible. Because the one thing they did agree with, they did want to spend some time together, go places together as a couple first before you bring kids into the midst, because that will change things. Thomas is right. That's going to change it. You know, it's going to change. You're going to have to make some adjustments. Life doesn't stop, but you're going to have to make some adjustments.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Trey. Phil, talk to me. Thomas, Camille, what are we saying?
I appreciated the conversation. It was the first mature conversation they both had with each other, in my opinion. I did appreciate Thomas being vulnerable and expressing his fears. I'm glad Camille was able to listen and share her timeline with him without being overbearing and taking over and making it into a joke. I definitely appreciated this. This was a new side of them. Though they are boring, they are stable. For the most part, the most stable on this group of people, but I definitely think that I want to see more conversations like this from the couples on Mavs. It was definitely good. I appreciated it. Take y'all time, don't rush into it, and talk to each other. A man should, be able to express if he has fears of being a father. It's a big responsibility, and I appreciate that Thomas is taking it very seriously.
Thank you, Philo. Easton, where are you sitting with Thomas and Camille?
I'm teetering between if they're gonna make it or not. Like Phil said, this is the first mature conversation, and it's a mature conversation that I think viewers I think it's good for viewers to see, because you get to see the natural fears that, especially a traumatized man who was raised by, effectively kind of passed off and has a good relationship with his mother now, but having to kind of work through those emotions and talk about that with his wife. So I think, in my opinion, that was good to see him open up a tad bit more, and also with Camille. On the flip side, what prompted this kind of conversation in my purview is that they are like clinging to each other, because they're like, dang, I'm glad we ain't as bad as what we see downstairs. Like, we ain't got that kind of mess. And for me, I mean, sometimes you kind of need that kick in the rear to show you, to make you, it shouldn't be that way, but sometimes when you see people have their drama and issues, you're like, thank God my girl ain't crazy, or thank God whoever I'm with isn't crazy. And so I think that with their conversation, it kind of stemmed from seeing the chaos boil, whether it be from Ike and Mem the night prior to that, to now Alan, Madison, David, Michelle situation. And so that is an interesting caveat to that conversation, but I loved it because you get to see both people kind of like talk about what they have in their mind. And then you also get to see what they're going to hopefully, compromise, because it could be 2 years, it could be immediately, it could be 1 year, but you get to see that kind of dialogue and it be had at a healthy pace.
Appreciate that. CWAY, welcome. Good to have you on board. What's Gucci? We're talking about Thomas and Camille. I want to get your thoughts. They had a conversation about children, and Thomas kind of said, he's a little bit afraid of, messing up those kids in the future and stuff. He held it down, and Camille says, she's not ready. She thinks she can juggle her career and being a parent too. So I want to get your thoughts on that conversation.
I thought it was a really nice conversation. I know that Thomas is in his 40s, so I know that he's ready to kind of settle down. And I understand his reservation about, just trying to make sure you do things a little differently. But it seems like he had a good example as far as like his step family, or adopted family, I should say. So I think he's going to do a good job. And Camille has really softened up. And I just want to say that I love to see Camille in her I didn't have to F around and find out stage. Like, it seems like she's really realized that this is, she needs to lock in with this. And I'm happy that kids. What did it say? Y'all hear me? It says mic is muted.
Yeah, no, sorry, it's me. It was my fault. I was trying to solve something and I pressed the button. Apologies. Keep going.
Oh no, you're good. I'm glad that she's, talking about kids and her readiness to have kids. I think the more that Thomas is telling her and planning the future with her, the more comfortable she's getting. And I'm glad that she's coming around. So I thought it was a nice conversation, and I'm glad that they're giving us something to root for. She didn't make me mad this episode, so I'm just happy about that.
Love that. Any other additions about Thomas Camille? Because I can't lie to you, that's what I remember from their situation. It was the show was so dominated by this beef that I don't remember having much of Thomas Camille. I just remember them being in the bathtub having that conversation. That's about it. So if anybody's got any other additions, please, by all means.
Then they went to sleep trying to get some peace.
That's what I'm trying to say. They were trying to get sleep and they heard loud bangs.
They were trying to find some peace in the house.
They said they're too old to be part of this madness. Yesterday.
Why did this scene? Every scene, it looked like Thomas was asleep on her back or something. Every scene, he was like laid up on her side, just asleep. I was like, what is going on? Every scene, he was asleep on her back, on her side, up around her neck. He had his leg and arm wrapped around her side.
That's a sign of peace, Trey.
She put it on him. She put it on him.
Listen, hey, and as long as she popping that top off, it's even greater.
Right.
Yes. Put him to sleep.
Hopefully,
keep him quiet.
Hopefully, Thomas got her to do some things, because if he's still doing all that and he ain't got no action, I'm gonna be upset.
Man, listen, I love peace. I try to keep peace. I don't like even calling them boring. If you want to use the word boring, I like to see boring. Just drama is cool, but it causes too much bull crap for me, because everybody all the apologists, we'll get to them later. But no, give me the peace. I like to see when couples actually work out, at least seemingly so, because we still suspect on Camille. But I like to see it. Work it out. Do what the show is supposed to be doing and move forward.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, boy, when you turn 40 plus, you just be wanting to relax. And like Thomas lets us know at every second, like, that I am not trying to deal with that. Even when, the mess does start, they was in the bed talking. He's like, yo, I'm too old for this. Like, he is not going to let you forget that, like, I'm on the other side of 40. So I'm not playing these games with y'all. So I just thought that was hilarious, because I don't think we just have enough conversations about like just a couple of age gap differences, like just a few years really changes a lot about how you show up. But I also think he works a 9 to 5 and this was like a little vacation to him. So he's like, yo, I'm chilling.
And I also don't think there's enough conversation about when you're so used to chaos, the transition to peace sometimes can feel very jarring and upsetting. And I think maybe that's a little bit what Camille went through because she's so used to like a dynamic relationship with chaos. And I think a lot of people when they finally get into a healthy, peaceful relationship in the beginning, it can be a little jarring and kind of boring. But once you settle in, it's like, wait, this is what peace looks like? This is good. So maybe that's also what she was going through.
I think that's a good point. I think maybe that's a great point to highlight about how sometimes, even on these shows, you get so used to Carnage that we are looking at them being as boring. I mean, they are boring, I can't lie to you. And it's because the show is actually not showing us conversations that are happening between them. Like, actual conversations that are progressive. Like, because of course, couples that are at peace, it's not like they're not talking. You know what I mean? Like, so they need to show us a bit more conversations of them progressing. A bit like we saw with earlier, a couple of seasons back with Woody and the lady, I can't remember her name, but they were similar. It got to a point where they were very similar, where it's like they were kind of boring in their season because nothing was really popping off. And I don't need them to see pop off. I think that's why I said that the show, if like rather than just focus on the crazy damage, Amani, thank you. The show could actually do some interesting things here. They could be doing some challenges. They could be doing some couple building stuff. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, if they had put them in a challenge where they're having to learn to communicate and some skills and blah, 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 blah. Maybe some things around intimacy. Because we remember the last time we had a conversation, she ain't speaking to the microphone. Why are we not focused on those things? That would have been things that they can improve on rather than not showing us those things. And then, you know what I mean? Then it looks boring. When really and truly, there's conversation that actually need to be had. So, maybe something for the next one where Peacock take over. Hopefully we'll have better ways of doing things. So maybe some exercise that will help them grow, man. Do you know what I mean? And then it's not boring. Then it's like, oh, we learned this about them too. Instead of just waiting to see the carnage for the rest of the couples. And I think, like you said, CWAY, I think even the audiences, even the show is conditioning us to wait for carnage. That's why the series can end up being boring when we're not seeing carnage. So I think that's the same thing. It's like they need to be constructive with the way that they are building some of these things. It can be very interesting to see couples work through certain challenges, but hey, we're probably asking for too much from the devil. Anyway, so any other thoughts on Thomas Camille before we switch it? No. Anybody have any thoughts on JUAN and KARLA before we go to our main pay-per-view? Because let's be honest, ain't nothing else happening. So yes, who's open their mic? Yes, Latoya, talk to us.
KARLA is my favorite on this show. Like, she is a standout to me. I see you shaking your head, but the way in which she manages just life, challenges, things around her, like, she truly does need to step into her purpose, and I'm wishing the best for her. I mean, with everything. So you cannot, don't sit up there and like dismiss what like is naturally her. So she is the standout for me in every scene. She shows up. She shows that she's the one that you want to have around when things do get tough. She can handle it. Just because the girl don't know a thing about business, okay? Because that two things can be true. She don't know nothing about a business. She's really good at what her purpose work is. So she's just a favorite. I'll just say to JUAN, I had my girlfriend watch the show, this episode, and I was just like, yeah, the folks thinks that, JUAN is playing for the other team. She said, well, he looked like he do. So, and I'm gonna just say that. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wait, who said that?
No, just one of my girlfriends. I was just having her look at it, and I was like, yeah, the people think that he playing for the other team. She was like, well, he looked like he do. And this is someone who has never watched this season or anything from first glance. That's what she said. So I don't know, y'all.
That's wild work. That's wild work.
Latoya, real quick, I find it interesting that you want KARLA around, but you didn't. Why would you want her around if she gonna not tell Alan that he getting cheated on? I mean, she knew. But that's who you want to keep around, though. But hey, none of my business.
Who said that? Who said that KARLA knew?
Carla
know she
clocked
knew.
that. Carla
She knew.
clocked it.
She knew
We
the
ain't-
whole time.
But
She
you don't
knew
know
the
what
whole
Carla
We
knew.
did.
Don't be putting
We-
discoveries in Carla
We
mouth
did.
and Carla mind.
Wow.
Carla,
Well,
don't know what
wait. It's too early to
See,
start
Wade,
this. We'll
you
get
too
to them.
smart. You too
Because,
smart. She
nah,
was picking
you
it
ain't
up.
about to do us like this. Nah, see what you ain't about to do us like this. Carla knew. In so many words, Carla
if
kept
Carla
saying
knew,
that
she would
knew.
have told. She would have told
No, she
Madison that
wouldn't
he
have.
was low down.
No, she wouldn't have.
Now, did
'Cause you
Carla
know
have
why?
suspicions? Yes, probably. But I don't think she knew because Madison and them was keeping it from everybody.
I'm gonna give Carla some grace this episode. I'm gonna say one great thing about her. Carla knows when to keep her mouth shut when she needs to, because it's not her business.
Because
She
if you
know
don't
when to
have
keep
the
her mouth
smoking,
shut.
hold on, I got a question. Didn't y'all make me sit through a whole diatribe about how if you don't have the smoking gun, then don't come bring in the bull crap? Didn't I have to listen to that all yesterday? If
She
Carla
did have
was
the smoking.
smoking
She did have the
gun,
smoking gun. She knew
That
that
was
Dave.
last night.
I
She
don't
knew
think
that.
she had it. I don't think she had
She
the
knew that
smoking
David
gun.
and Madison left for 15 minutes. What you gonna do? You
So
done left
Carla
us,
suspected. Yes, Carla suspected.
and you ain't gonna
She
bring that up
did
to
something.
nobody.
That's not a smoking
No.
gun. Didn't y'all just say yesterday that Michelle shouldn't be coming to people with her suspicions? Come on
And
now, we're
that's
gonna have to
why.
be consistent.
That's why I see. I wasn't here last night. Listen
No,
to what
Trey,
I'm
that's
about
not
to say.
you. I'm talking about everybody else being hypocritical.
I said that. I'm just repeating. I'm just going back because Latoya said this is somebody you want to have around, and I'm like, well, the people I want to have around gonna tell me when they know something's up, when they got a little red flag or something.
Nah, I could
Listen,
see
here's
we
the
was
problem.
like
Wait a
real
minute.
friends. They only been knowing each other for less than 2 months. Let's
I don't know
let's
y'all,
not do that. Nope, it's
I
not
don't
my business. I ain't in it. Okay, this is not one of my close peoples. I'm not doing it. She did the right
listen.
thing.
Yes.
Madison was lying to herself. She was lying to everybody, including Carla. There's no way that Carla knew. Now, Carla's very smart, so I'm not saying she didn't have an idea, but I don't think that she had a smoking gun. So by what y'all said yesterday, that means that she should have kept it to herself, right?
And she did.
She did.
As she
And
should
she
have.
did. As she should have. And that's all I'm saying. As
Me
she
and Trey
should
agree.
have.
I want
Because
to say
it ain't
something
her
else
business.
unrelated to this whole thing.
Because it ain't her business to know. It wasn't her business. It wasn't her marriage. And like we just said, even like we just said, okay, yeah, we say we friends, but let's be real. We just met 6 weeks ago. What are we talking about?
Okay.
Hey,
I'm not feeling them. Theo, can I say something else unrelated to this? Because can we agree to disagree or agree to agree, like me and Trey? What I want to say is that Juan is one of the fakest on this show, and Juan really showed up to this show just bogus as hell. Like Juan really actually likes Carla for real. Quiet as it's kept, he likes Carla, and Carla likes him. He just lying to himself. Juan needs to get in tune with his star player. Shout out to Cat Williams. I'm not gonna say what his star player is, what his issue is.
wow.
But I'm not gonna say, because honestly, I don't know what Juan's problem is. I really don't know. I have an idea, but I don't know.
What it is. I'm gonna tell you
I
what
don't
it is.
know.
So I
I'ma
just
tell you what
wanted
it
to
is.
add something really quick. Carla ain't got no job.
Exactly.
Carla ain't got no place.
Exactly.
And Carla ain't got no plan. However, I am going to give Carla some grace tonight. I am going to be Team Carla tonight. I can appreciate Carla. CWAY, Carla definitely had her suspicions. But Carla was the MVP for last night for me. I'm Team Carla this week. But I think the issue with Juan and Carla is they're not sexually attracted to each other, but they're not being disrespectful. So I can appreciate that.
I think Carla is attracted to him. That's the thing. Carla is attracted to him. Carla wants him to some degree, but Carla is like me. Her self-esteem is in the ceiling. Carla ain't chasing no man. So that's why I get down with Carla. Carla's cool. Carla like, if you don't want me, then we can play these guitars and we can do our crystals and our whatever, as she should. But I feel like Juan is not being honest, huh? Juan is not. Oh, I don't know. Juan is not being honest with himself or the process, and that he's gonna look back and be like, I made strides, but I'm not being honest with myself because he's holding back. He's definitely holding back. for whatever his reason is.
Juan is holding back because he does not like Karla. Plain
Why
and
though? That's
simple.
surface level,
He
Trey.
looks at what she can. He's looking at her, what she can bring to his life, and it's not what he wants. Plain and simple. And he's okay for wanting that. Everybody, just because you might think that Karla is his greatest fit for everyone, doesn't mean everyone is going to think that she's a great fit for him. It doesn't mean that. He looked at her assets, what she says she does versus what she's shown, and it's not it. Now, what has happened? What has happened if they have built a friendship with each other and they're cool? They agree to, you know what? We know this is, we know what this is going to be. But we can always be cool and we can push this on to decision day. We know it's going to be a no. And Juan said something very particular in this episode when they were doing their little song and dance or whatever. He's like, you know what? We ain't even that bad. We probably the second best couple on the show right now, without even trying. Because they agreed to get along with one another.
I don't think
They
it's
just
that simple,
agreed
Trey.
to. I think it's very simple. Now, I will say this to something you just said. Karla ain't slick. This episode was the first time she showed some type of attraction to Juan. But I clocked it as soon as she did it. Let's not forget, she's still trying to secure a place to stay. She need a roommate. Okay? She need a roommate. So guess what she's gonna do? Hey, Juan, listen, we worked this out. We're cool, right? We went through this. We're friends, whatever. She's trying to secure her some place to lay her head at because she ain't got one right now. Smart woman, if you're gonna do that, you're gonna try it, but nah. It's as simple as Juan looked at her. It was like, okay, she looked good. Looked at everything else. It was like, you know what? This is not for me. But I don't have to tear you down and be cruel and mean like some of these other couples just because it's going to be a no for me. But we want to excoriate him for that. That's crazy. That's crazy. So what do you want him to do? Act like David? Pick a struggle here now. Pick a struggle.
Juan doesn't deserve Karla. Period. I don't care. Y'all sitting up here just because, yes, she's in a season of ain't got no job, she ain't got all this and that. Okay, it's a season. Seasons pass. But what he will miss is how she shows up in other ways, which is very useful for a man like him. He's going to rethink this later on, and she would have moved on.
Yep.
Latoya, you keep telling yourself that. You keep telling yourself
your opinion.
That's your opinion. That man knows what he is an asset to him. He said, "Oh, she ain't got a job. She ain't got a place to stay. She ain't got a pot to piss in. I can't win with this."
Well, that's so funny, Easton, because when Michelle clocked that David was a basement dweller and always was going to be a basement dweller, then people wanted to say
he got two jobs. Two of them.
It doesn't matter. The man is a basement dweller and he has a broke mentality. And he's still not doing what he's supposed to be doing with his money. The purpose is
Dope
what
jobs.
I'm trying to say is let me get this through. Juan and Michelle are both two people who are broken and have a scarcity mindset. Juan and Michelle have a scarcity mindset. They have a broke person's mentality. No matter how much money they have, all they do is worry about finances and it's in the exterior. Easton, are you listening? Because you ain't listening. You're trying to respond. You're not listening. They have a fixation on exterior and finances and things like that. That's why they can't get no quality, because when they see quality, they're not looking for that. That's all I'm saying. You could clock it in Michelle. Let's clock it in Juan. They're two broken people who are traumatized by their broke childhood.
So why is it right for Juan and not for Karla? Because we're only focusing on Juan and not Karla. So if it's two broke mindsets, why is it okay for Karla and not for Juan?
No, Juan and Michelle, not Juan and Karla. Karla is broke and she happy and she cool with it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Juan and Michelle. Have a broke mentality.
He works two jobs and is building up a startup. Like, I don't understand the issue.
Who's building a startup?
Juan.
What startup is Juan building?
Juan is a managing partner.
I
He's
was
a
thinking about
managing
David.
partner.
Sorry.
He manages
No.
somebody else's startup. Period.
Regardless, my boy has multiple jobs. He has multiple streams of income. I don't understand how we are confusing somebody who has voluntarily left, allegedly, parted ways with somebody who has 2 jobs and is trying to be an entrepreneur. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just the confused one, but hey, more power to you. LaToya, I hope she signs up for your course so you can get her on the right path and we can get this thing going because Karla needs the help.
Easiest money I've ever made. The woman got all of her whole presentation throughout this entire series. All we have to do is put together a reel for that and just put together a proposal. It's in the bag.
Then please go and invest because I show like
send her a DM today. I will co-sign. I will write a fake test. I'll be like, LaToya got me from 0 to 100. You should sign up with her, Karla.
0 to 20,000.
0 to 20,000.
It shouldn't be wrong for Juan to be with somebody who's financially and his work ethic is close to his. That's not a bad thing. If he wants a woman to work because he's working, is that such a bad thing? He wants somebody to have the same common interest as him, and him and Karla ain't got similar interests as well.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of things in common. And I also saw when he did that pottery lesson, yeah, he is totally awkward, not smooth. He missed every chance of Karla trying to flirt with him. And he's over here trying to tell her how to make the pottery the right way and give her step-by-step instructions. Meanwhile, he's goofing it up. So yeah, I'm sick of Juan on my screen. I'm sick of Juan and his toxic positivity, and being dismissive of people and trying to shoo things away. He did it with Alan. He's done it with other folks. Yeah, Juan can go somewhere. He's very performative and just phony. Because at the end of the day, he's not. He keeps trying to say like, oh, he's trying to make it work. We can figure he's doing nothing. He hasn't held this woman's hand. He's done absolutely nothing to make inroads in their relationship. He's just clowning around and being silly. And then, funny enough, how Alan clocks him to be the one most likely to be an exotic dancer. I find that to be very interesting.
Because we know what type of club. Alan know what type of club. Alan got the broccoli draws. You think he don't know what type of club he gonna be in?
Look.
I need y'all to read the room. Y'all gonna miss all the cues. Somebody look. I know I can't be the only one or the only couple of people who can read the room here.
No, he like women. He don't like people of his own cloth. He likes a specific type.
I'm not convinced. There's nothing about him that gives anti-Hispanic, anti-Black. Nothing about him. He gives anti-emotional availability, anti-attraction to women. He gives scarcity mindset, and he gives fake AF. That's what he gives.
Come on.
What do y'all want for this?
I don't understand this.
I don't. What do y'all want?
One attraction to one woman, all of a sudden he's off of all women. You sound ridiculous.
I think Juan may be a
sound ridiculous.
I don't think I just gave one reason. I didn't just give his lack of
I think he's
The
another David.
only example we got is this relationship with Karla. That's it. And you based everything off of that. It's the
same way I think Karla has put together a great presentation for her skills is the same way if you look at the presentation of Juan, it does not lead you to think that he likes the opposite sex.
I think Juan wants a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman as well, like David.
He does. Them folks, them people of color, they very colorist. They gotta. He said he wanted somebody who could match his culture and stuff like that. No, he wants this person who can embellish and kind of love his culture. But that's it. That's what he wants. He wants.
Where are y'all getting that from? Y'all said I'm jumping out the window. Where are you guys getting that from?
In the beginning of the season, he has mostly dated white women. This is the first time he's dated a woman of Latin descent. He said that in the beginning of the season.
So y'all are basing it all off of that?
That's what he said.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said.
That's exactly what he said.
Where they gonna go to eat? The way he was tearing up Karla's mama's food, when they went over there and he was talking
He did
about
that with he did that with the sushi. What are we talking about?
Let me explain something to y'all, and this one's gonna ruffle some feathers. One thing I learned is that men, like the black men who only date white women and the Latino men who only date white women, they do that because they know that's where they can get away with their nonsense. If they know they have a secret to hide and they know they got stuff to hide, they will never get with their own women because we'll clock it. Now there's some goofy women who be in these comments who don't be clocking it. I don't know, but most, if a black man's dating another black man, we know black woman, we know what's going on. So they go to white women so they can keep their secrets, because there's gonna be so much cultural differences. The hoes gonna be talking about, oh, maybe it's just because he did it. No, they're not gonna clock it. So even if he was dating white women before, that proves my point.
Twin, we strayed so far off. A lot of the reason why they do that is for validation. They want validation
and secrecy. Validation and secrecy. They're trying to hide something or try to uplift something that ain't there.
Okay, I'm gonna let you have that one, Twin.
Do we not forget a few episodes back the way in which he had was, I don't want to use the word flirting, but just made comments about other men in a way that other men shouldn't make comments about other men? Are we forgetting that happened?
No, they're gonna say it's just because he don't like Karla, not because he was flirting with David.
Yeah, yield, EASTON, yield.
I'm done with this
And
conversation.
Karla's friend that she was dancing with, and he said he would be dancing with him too.
No, Jacqueline, you're not goofy for not agreeing with me, and I never called you goofy in particular, but I would say yes, you would fall in the goofy category if you see a man flirting with another man on multiple occasions, actually flirting with multiple men on multiple occasions, and then you proceed to think he's not gay, and then 5 months later you crying to your friend, talk about, I don't know why I caught him on the back apps and the red apps and all the different apps. Then that would make you goofy. Yes, that part would make you goofy. Because I don't know how many times people got to show you what they're doing. And again, I'm not talking to Jacqueline in particular. I'm just saying, before people want to take the context clues and add it all up and put it all together.
Stretch before you reach, CWAY. Stretch before
Whatever.
you reach.
These be the same people who want sympathy. And that's why I don't give people no sympathy. Because there was before you caught that man on that back page, there was a lot of signs and stuff that you were missing. But instead of listening to a person like me, y'all was like, no, CWAY, you tripping. No, how you know that? Because I can see, and I lived in Atlanta.
Also, reason number 456 why we're dying on this hill is because look at the scene when they were doing the pottery. That was a very, like, all his language was incredibly, like, up there, right? And he didn't even, like, try to equate it. He didn't try to, like, you know how some people would be like, oh, I should never say it like that, or I see where you're going with that. Like, he just, it's like it just went over his whole head. Like,
he was
because he
he's
didn't
not
play the
interested.
pause game. So because he didn't play the pause game, you just like, yeah, okay.
It's a lost cause. It's a lost cause.
Hey,
we can move on. Time gonna tell.
Well, obviously we've got Sean and Elsie.
Right.
You haven't had
It is.
much of a say, so I'm gonna get these two in, and then we'll go on to our main topic, because of course the debate will rage on. Elsie looks like she gonna say something, so I'm gonna let Elsie go and then let Sean go after. What's your thoughts, Elsie? y'all are good, man.
Yeah. Good evening. Funny enough, we're saying all of this about Juan, yet Karla has no place to live and no employment. No employment at all. No place to live. Juan has an apartment. Yes, he may be sharing or roommating with his cousin. He has an apartment. He has a place to live. He knows where he's going, and it's not the storage bin, okay? I mean, come on. The man has a plan. Yes, he's working on something. Whether he is really an investor or he's just working a job, a 9 to 5, the man has income. Where is Karla's income? And Karla thinks she's slick. The way she put out there, oh, I feel so much safer in such a big, big house. Karla's like, I don't want to live anywhere unless it's a big, big house. Yeah, Karla, I heard you. What is your plan to get in that big house? I'm sorry. Y'all, after these, 2-3 weeks are over, Karla gonna go back to her parents. Juan gonna go back to his apartment. My thing is, what I do like with them, what I do like is Karla don't have no evidence of anything. She been it, she ain't in it. And the two of them decide, we just gonna chill and have fun. We gonna ride this out till the end, and we gonna be respectful. That's the appreciation I have for Juan and Karla. We gonna carry this through, and we are not gonna be fodder for gossip and all that stuff. I appreciate them for that.
Go for it, Sean.
Yeah, I pretty much given my opinion on those two. I do think I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like there's some instability with Karla. I definitely see it, but I think her value outweighs some of those things. And I'm not one of those men that put women in the same category, and I'm going to waste and expend my energy on, well, if men can do it, why can't women? Or she needs to be doing this. I don't necessarily look at it that way. So if anybody wants to go down that path, so be it for them. I do like her energy. I do feel like she's very highly intuitive. I think she is very peaceful. She's light. She's fun to be around. When you watch her on the after party, she also held Michelle accountable after the whole thing broke out. So for people that's like, what's her value? Her value is she stands up for the truth. And all this stuff about her knowing and not saying, yeah, I don't know, who pieced that together, but y'all need to go back to Scooby-Doo school and work on your investigative skills, because I'm not trying to pin nothing on no Karla, and I'm not 100% convinced that she knew 100% enough to know and start getting into the mix. So there's that.
I love that. Listen, y'all have discussed that topic. I didn't think we could even do Juan and Karla like that, but y'all discussed Juan and Karla and sent it flying. So shout outs to you. Listen, of course, we got to talk about the main event today. Okay, we got to talk about the David, the Madison. We got to talk about the Alan and Michelle situation. Okay, we're gonna discuss them. All right. So before we do, obviously, I want to just shout out some super chats out here. So first and foremost, Empress Horton said, "I think he always knew she was cheating. Major hurt because it's David who he thought was a friend. When Podcast David said, 'We friends.' WTF." Shout out to El Cid as well. She dropped a major bag on us as well. Shouting out with a 10 out here. We thank you very much, El Cid, on that as well. 10 gifted memberships. Shout out to you. We appreciate you, sis. We also have new members. Selly, welcome, and AS, welcome. We appreciate you. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the team. Okay, the more the merrier. It's always a blessing. And so welcome to Little Black Book. All right, the Mineral Gang. We're discussing obviously Married at First Sight. We're talking about what happened on episode 12. Well, it's episode 12, but episode 15 with Michelle and Michelle's craziness of exposing David Madison as well. And I know today's going to be a heated one. I know it. Okay, I know it because there's going to be different points of view. I'm not even going to narrow it down. I'm going to let you start wherever you want to start, okay? Because I want the conversation to just take its own unique course today. Because usually I ask everybody their opinion and et cetera, which we'll still do. But I definitely want to let you guys have a bit more freedom, like the way you did with Juan and Karla. I think that was really good as well. Different points of view. Of course, if people are not speaking, I will encourage you to speak. So don't worry, I'll be watching the panel as we go. But definitely this obviously situation between David, Michelle, and also Madison and Alan was a very unique one. If you haven't watched already, David got caught cheating. Okay, all right. He got caught creeping. All right. So Michelle exposed him, as you say. So we're gonna go into this next round. Okay, I want y'all to play fair. Okay, all right. Because this music is to set the tone. Because y'all, I know you're gonna get into a bit of a situation. I know this conversation is gonna get crazy. All right, cool. Let's get into this conversation. Let's get into this conversation. Who would like to start us off first talking about the subject? Because I know that this subject
I
is
will.
close to a lot of people's hearts. Oh, okay. So Phil want to start off. Okay, Phil, open up the conversation. You can take it anywhere you want, and of course, whoever's next, if you're really feeling it, just type in the chat, and I'll definitely put you up next so that it doesn't become crazy. But open us up, Phil. What's your thought process? Where are you taking us to? What's your perspective?
Okay, tonight I'm going to use some of my social work clinical skills. We are going to use the strengths perspective when we're discussing Alan and his downfall. We're going to build up on his strengths to correct his weaknesses. Easton, tonight, my friend, we're going to use the strengths perspective. Madison is whack. She is a harlot. How nasty and evil she is. How dare you come up on this show and come after that man's looks, his character, and who he is as a person, knowing that you've been gaslighting and manipulating him the whole time? And then everybody to me, I'm sorry, last night, oh, them blonde hair, blue eyed tears did not faze me none. She is a liar. The difference between David and Madison is David never came after Michelle's character. He lied like Madison lied, but he never came after her character. Madison was sitting up here playing my man. And yes, we're going to talk about Alan and what he needs to improve upon. Strengths. First, we're going to do strengths. But Madison is nasty, dog. You've been lying to dude the whole time. Coming in late. You getting tacos late. Meanwhile, you've been out with his boy. And David, yo, you trash too. Alan is a much better man than me. Because he would have had to catch two. We got to catch a fade, yo. He got to step outside. I know Elle said nonviolent, nonviolent. However, it's the disrespect. You ain't got to know the next man, but me and you are connecting on this journey that we're going through together. And for you to try to sit up in my face and then try to gaslight me and say she was trying, she was never trying. This whole time she was lying. He is weak. But that Madison, oh, she's worse than David, because at least David just kept his lies to himself about himself. He wasn't trying to manipulate Michelle into being something that she wasn't, unlike our evil temptress, Madison.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'm with it. Trey, you said you want to go next. Go for it.
I was trying to figure out what angle to come at this from because it was such a mess watching it. I'll say this. I'm going to start with Alan. I felt so bad for Alan. But to Easton's point, even though I do think you went too far, you went over the line. But to Easton's point, Alan has to take some accountability for this about a scotch work because he said it himself in the actual show when he started raging out. And I quote, I knew it. I knew something was going on. I've been asking for it for the last 2 weeks. If you don't want me, just let me go. I knew something was going on. So you knew in the back of your head that something wasn't right. And you just kept along to play along, hoping that everything's going to work out. On that part, my brother, I'm so sorry. You have to take some accountability for that. Because even last week, I just had this, a week or so ago, I had this terrible dream that you were cheating on me. Bro, you was already telling yourself what was going on. I still feel bad for you because this was nasty work, how this episode unfolded. It was nasty work, which leads me to Michelle. Now listen, I haven't been a fan of Michelle all season. And I'm definitely not going to start being a fan of hers now. But KOJO asked the question last night, was Michelle right for doing her investigation? I'm going to tell you the truth about this. I am conflicted. Let me tell you why I'm conflicted. A part of me, on principle, says, yeah, she was right for, finding out the truth, this and that and third. Then the other part clicked to me. I was like, wait a minute. But you don't care about this man. You literally don't care about this man. Which led me to believe, wait a minute. The only reason why you're doing this, because you were seeking vindication for yourself. That's the only reason why you was doing this. It wasn't to help Alan. It wasn't really to find out the truth. You caught smoking at the beginning of the season because of how you were acting towards towards David specifically. Not him, not what he did, is how you acted. Your choices, what you said, your actions. You got upset. Now, this is the diabolical. I believe production worked with you to say, you know what, don't worry, we're gonna turn this around, we're gonna turn your storyline around, because you ain't gonna convince me that they didn't know all this was going on the whole daggone time. Because they chose specific moments to be seen and pop in at certain instances during this whole debacle. In this episode and previous episodes. I was clocking it. They knew. They was like, you know what? This is going to be the greatest storyline in Math's history, at least for the US version. So we're going to play right into it. And Michelle helped them. She was ready because what convinced it for me, especially when she was on an after show, she was still upset that it seemed like the rest of the cast wasn't all the way in with her in her investigations. She was upset. She was upset to the point Camille was like, listen, I'll be honest with you. I was sitting back watching, clocking everybody. That means she was clocking you too. I was just sitting back clocking everybody because number one, it really wasn't our business. And number two, we don't know what to believe, which led me to think, oh no, all of y'all was clocking everything that was going on, but you was doing what you're supposed to do and minding your goddamn business because it ain't y'all. But Michelle was looking for validation for what she was doing was right. I am the woman scorned. Scorned for what exactly? For a man that you don't want? I don't understand that. That doesn't compute for me. You don't care. If you really cared, or you say you cared about Alan, you wouldn't have broke it to him that way. You would have used better kid gloves. Because you just try to lead him to have him crash out on the whole situation, which I'm sorry, y'all. I know y'all was saying she was the greatest detective of all times. It was like she was like 40% greatest detective. Let me tell you why. When she went back the first time when she told Alan her suspicions, I think this is going on. I don't know, I don't think this is going on. She was trying to send him on a dummy mission. That didn't work the first time. Because you notice Alan went back upstairs and was brooding, but he was laying up in the bed when Madison came in. It was at that time where the plan was supposed to work. She was supposed to go and challenge her right then and there, but that didn't happen. So we had to retread and try to redo this. She running around the house trying to interview people. Do this. Oh, wait, let me see this phone. Call it. This is where I get on David. David is a punk ass. Listen. And he a daggone fool. I don't condone this type of behavior, but I'm being so honest. I don't understand why David played this the way he played. It didn't happen. This started weeks ago when she asked you about that text message. All he had to say was, yeah, I sent it to you and what? I was drunk. I just sent you to see what you were going to say. You ain't answer back, so it is what it is. We had to go through this whole song and dance. Oh, I sent it to my cousin, this and that and third. Now you played yourself. And Madison, she probably is the most diabolical out of all this. Because she played it. I know I'm going on. I'm a lady.
That's
okay.
Right. Just the time is up. Time is up. You was on a roll. I didn't want to stop you, but you was on a roll. I want you to save some of that B-roll because there's a lot more conversation to go next. So don't be burning yourself out when there's a whole lot more conversation. Hey, dog. Appreciate you. See where we're showing her doggy dog. Yes, Easton, go for it.
All right. So again, I want to set the precedence of the framework of this situation. This isn't a relationship that has been kind of collected over years or months, and they've been knowing each other. They haven't been girlfriend and boyfriend. They haven't built a lot of emotional connection. This is something that is basically an arranged marriage without the cultural or religious confinements that we might know. So I don't treat this as a traditional marriage in the slightest. Like, it's in my mind, this is something that's unconventional, and so I judge it under an unconventional lens. And so when I rank this order of who I think are the villains, 1A, Madison. 1B, Michelle. 2 is David, and 3 is Alan. Madison is dead wrong. Dead wrong. But again, I give her a slight bit of grace because she is in the confinements of the show where, again, I'm sure people in the chat, I'm sure people on the panel have had an experience where a nice guy likes you. Maybe your friends hooked y'all up together and you just didn't like that man. That being said, they say, hey, girl, just give him a chance. Just give him a chance. Give him a chance. You don't give him a chance, or you don't really like him. You like his homeboy. And things kind of play out how they might happen. Now, in real world, we don't have the confinements of the show, producers, other people trying to keep you into the relationship. Whereas on this show, you do. You have, so I see there's a little bit of pressure to perform. And plus, Alan is a very nice guy. He, on paper, he's everything that she should like. And so in my opinion, there's a little bit of overarching pressure on Madison. I still don't forgive her. She's still the scum of the world. It is what it is. Michelle, baby girl, you are nefarious. You are insufferable. We can't win with you. And you probably going to be lonely for the rest of your days because you know how to peck at people. CWAY clocked it. The reason why it was gaslighting to Michelle was because she was doing everything in her power to make David not like her, because that's stuff that she's done in her past. She's made men not like her by being insufferable. And so in the beginning, this is what she did. She did that. And she's like, well, dang, David keeps coming back. I'm doing my best tricks to get this man off of me. And he kept coming back, and he was lying. He was creating the facade. And so in my opinion, she had to get to the bottom of it because she was coming off as evil and nefarious and insufferable, and she just couldn't shake David off her. So that was my part one, what makes her worse. But also how she played Alan and turned that boy into a crash out. She knew what she was doing. Like I said, it was just like a soap opera. She knew when to exit stage left, come in on stage right. She knew when to pause. She knew when to look at him. She had that boy tossing and turning mentally, and she played that boy like a fiddle. And so for you, you are 1B. David, you cheated. You're dirty, low brow, basement dwelling gnome. We can't win with you. We can't win with you. And then you played the man them. You played Alan. It's okay. It's really not okay, but still, you can't cheat and do that. I don't have no forgiveness for you. Everybody doesn't want you to be happy. I think you and Madison are a match made in heaven because y'all are both low tier people. Then we're gonna go to Alan. Now I got the most smoke for you because you knew this woman. I had to think about it. You didn't even get no nookie. He ain't getting nothing from Madison for him to be acting like a crash out. Now I can see if she put it on him, but that boy Alan didn't get nothing. He didn't get nothing. Spent $3K trying to get his teeth fixed. I'm telling you, he had so many reasons to get out. He could have kicked her to the curb when she was out late. There was plenty of opportunities. He chose not to. We'll get into that, but I hold him a lot more responsible because, one, as a man, you're supposed to be a leader, and we keep talking and chirping about how we want our men to be leaders. You have to have wisdom and discernment and know when you have to enter and exit. And also, he acts like this nice guy, but he's really not, because you saw it when he said F that B, but he had all the smoke for Ike calling a man an a-hole. But you over here calling it, okay, I see how you act, but y'all gonna champion that. But hey, we're gonna let that slide.
Wait, before you go to it, my only issue with what you said, I don't care what you said, but I just gotta throw a referee whistle in there. Okay, just the only red flag that you had is when you start to say like she gonna be alone basically, well, blah blah blah. Just let's be careful how we stay into that thing. I don't mind you talking about how you talk about it. It's when you start saying about she gonna be alone basically, almost a Kevin Simon stuff. I'm not saying that you're necessarily, I'm just saying. I know what you meant. I'm just saying that just that little bit there. You was going a little bit left, but everything else, I don't mind.
I'll retract that. I hope that she corrects that behavior because it's going to push a lot of men away if it hasn't already.
That's beautiful.
It
That's
wasn't
better.
one flag, it was 6 flags. But I have a question just before. I just want to know before I really get at you, Easton. Why is Madison ranked 1 and David ranked 2 with Michelle in between? I just want a quick answer to that.
Because he wasn't trying. I don't think he was really trying to cheat. His whole MO, I think he wasn't trying to lie and continue this lie. It was Madison who had the reason to lie. I think he would have kicked Michelle to the curb as soon as Madison was ready, but Madison had to keep up the thing because Alan was a good guy, and on paper she should have stayed with him. But if David wanted to, if he had the will, the ability to, and got the clearance from Madison, he would have been like, "Oh yeah, I'm done with you," because you saw he stopped caring. He stopped caring for Michelle after the fact, and then he just kept lying and being like, "Oh, I love you." No, he would have said like, "Hey, deuces, I got me my blonde hair, blue-eyed queen."
Okay, so Easton, I don't know if you can take time to reflect. I'm just going to ask you a few questions and I'll let other people go. Do you notice that you have different standards for women than you do for men? Do you notice that you villainize women for doing the same thing, but you don't villainize men for doing equal or worse things? Do you notice that when women have pushback and comments and diabolical, it's one thing, but when men do it, you find a way around it? Do you notice that? Because the fact that Michelle was a 1B in between David. Oh, no. And then another thing. And then do you notice that you even have problems with femininity and softness in men? And that's why you threw Alan up there. Anything that is feminine or feminine adjacent, you seem to rank very poorly. So that's Alan for being soft, weak, and alleged simp. It's Michelle. It's Madison being number 1. Madison is already the villain. I just want you to sit. Sorry, I put my phone do not disturb. I just want you to sit and think about that. I just really want you to think about that. Because it seems like your standards for men and women are quite different. And I really need you to understand that this is the closeted misogyny that a lot of people haven't worked through. And then they spew it through their comments because they haven't worked through their misogyny. Your comments are they're filled with misogyny and toxic masculinity. And I can tell that you don't even realize that.
No, I had the same smoke for a mem as I do for Alan. A mem
another woman
chose to stay with Ike after he gave her plenty of pushback. And I said, no, you dumb for doing that. Another woman showing the same smoke for Alan. What you mean?
A person who you think is a simp.
I'm
who has
congruent.
Characteristics.
So
Juan,
they were
unavailable. Juan, who's emotionally unavailable, who you probably think that's a good thing because toxic masculinity, no smoke. David, who's a liar, basement dweller.
Stretch before you reach.
No smoke.
Stretch before you reach.
I can't even mention no smoke. But Michelle, who had the audacity to be insufferable and honest, is a 1B. In between the liar who lied to
Alan. She played Alan like a fiddle too. That's my biggest.
She played Alan by telling him the truth. I got it. Okay. I just want you to sit with that. I just want you to sit with it.
We got the other panelists. I'm saying she played Alan like a fiddle too because she could have easily went to Madison and say, "Hey, girl, woman to woman, what's going on between you and my man?" But she didn't. She went and put a battery in Alan's back, got that boy to crash out. I know. We know she did, but it's okay.
I don't want to reiterate it. I said that she had to put the fire on all sides to get to the truth because everybody was bold-faced, pickle-faced liars. Madison, David, only person not lying is David's cousin. Everybody is lying. KARLA seeing things, probably ain't saying nothing. Everybody else is telling her that she's seeing things and she's not. She had to get to the bottom of it. But look, you can feel a way about Michelle, but to put her as a 1B in between David and Madison is wild. And to me, that is full of misogyny. But
no, after this, I'll let the panel go. But my fairness is across the board. What I say is I like to highlight on these things because they're more realistic. Alan is more realistic, and I said that even with Tyler and Ashley. We like to harp on the cheating and these like outlier situations, especially in Mavs. But I'm saying Alan is a more predictable and more average type of guy. So I'm going to harp on that because I feel like that's going to reach in is a more approachable across the board. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, we need to fix Madison or we need. or talk about David. We know people cheat all the time. You can't fix it. You just got to try to avoid it. You got to mitigate risk. But what we like to do, we like to harp on, like, dang, I can't believe this. How long have you been living in this world? I know that some things are just going to be inevitable, and this is one of them. But if I could help and talk about things that guys like Alan should do, I think that's more productive of our time. But hey, that's me. It's okay, twin.
Easton, one quick comment. I hear you, but we want to pick up on Alan's strengths and to help improve his weaknesses, and not having accountability for people like Madison David is why those behaviors continue. If we stop talking about the issue, it does not get better. We cannot ignore that they both were dirty and wrong just because we know Alan needs to work on his self-esteem. And I hear you when you say you want to make him better for the next person, but when you come down on him being a nice guy, that's not helping his self-esteem.
You think he did that just because out the kindness of his heart, and that's why I feel like he didn't. You see how Alan is when he said F that D. I said, yeah, that boy was deep in it. I said, yeah, he has a darker side to him because he has expectations, and what everybody is oblivious to is that, hey, nice guys, there's plenty of them out here. You might know some, I know plenty. There's a string attached to that 3K. He was expecting that love on top of that. He was expecting, oh, she's gonna give me a kiss. She might even hook up with me. But he didn't get that. And so what happened when he didn't get what he wanted? He reverted to what his true self. F that B.
Easton, that is not fair. Easton, that's not fair for a man to get his feelings hurt and then for him to have a crash out moment. You're judging him on one bad moment. That is not fair. Yes, he did think. I will agree. He did think if he changed himself for Madison's whack, bleach blonde, bad weave, broad shoulders, he was going to get some. However, we all try to change and make ourselves better to be found more attractive to the person that we're looking for. But what we need to remember with people like Madison and David, they're the villains. CWAY is right. David is right underneath Madison. Right underneath, Michelle has her faults. She got big faults. But CWAY is right. David should be above Michelle.
I respectfully disagree.
I love that. Yeah, you know, held it down. Who wants to go next? I'm enjoying the different perspectives. Listen, we have to be free to be able to have different perspectives. You know what I'm saying, Chu? So I love the different perspectives. You know what I mean? So, you know, as well. You know, I think comments on the next. Okay.
Sean has something to add.
I don't think anybody should be commenting on anybody's looks, men or women. So we're gonna leave that alone. So no man, no woman from today onwards. I'm gonna say it across the board. I don't want to hear women or men talk about anybody's looks. It's gotta be fair across the board. I don't do that whole men and women thing. If we're not allowed to talk about looks, nobody should talk about looks. If we can't talk about sexuality, no one should talk about sexuality. I want it across the board, fair. So if we're not gonna say no looks can be mentioned, I don't want women talking about looks on this panel. I don't want men talking about looks on this panel. Nobody should talk about looks. It's not fair on anybody to do that. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So from now on, since we have mentioned it, you're absolutely right. I take that on board. No woman, no man should talk about looks. Anytime it comes up, I will mention it to the people, and you will not talk about the person's looks. You must stop and change the course of the conversation. Is that okay, everybody? Good, cool. I like where we're going. All right, cool. Who was next, Kez? Because y'all are spicy today, and I'm loving the conversation. You know what I'm saying, Chu? So, you know, primetime Andy gonna have to hold his own, because boy, he was getting jumped. Yes, you.
Yeah, Sean.
Go for it. Oh, Sean's gonna say it. Okay, go for it, Sean.
No,
Sorry,
I don't have anything to say. Not yet.
What you mean?
Okay.
Yeah, no, I reserve my opinion for later.
Let's go for it.
Nah, that was a Madison, that was a Michelle and Alan moment right just then. What do you mean? No.
All right, go for it.
Talking about ranking, honestly, for me, I can't decide who's 1, 2, or 3. I think when we're talking about David, Michelle, and Madison in their own ways, they're just extreme in being like really toxic people. I just felt like it was just kind of hard watching David. Like he was just so exhausted. It just shows his lack of care, concern for when he wants what he wants, how he acts. And it was just like a disappointment. As far as Madison, I don't have really nice things to say about her at all. Okay. I think she really exposed herself. I like the live tweet. So I'm like with the X family as it's going on and I'm writing. And I just was like, Madison didn't really look like a liar until David got so bad at it. Like she, it was, even though she was, and you can look at it like she was just looking at him, Alan, empty face all the time. But she really, she started looking really pitiful once she realized she just couldn't keep it up the same way she had been doing now that they were all in the same space together. And you know what? So what? Like, you are terrible out here. And then also just in what we've seen with Madison, like, she does think incredibly high of herself without talking about her looks or anything. But even the way, like when Michelle was questioning her, she's like, yeah, no, I don't think he should be reaching out to me. And she just thinks that like everybody should be bowing down to her because of her looks. And so I'll just say that's what it comes off to on the screen. I mean, as far as Michelle, granted, Inspector Gadget, like she was on it. I think she's an executive assistant. I even looked at her Instagram. It says she's some sort of makeup artist. Don't get me started on that. But I think where her career could be is as an investigative, like detective or something, because the girl did not let up. She put the pressure on. And what I really didn't like about it is that it was just self-serving. And she was also willing to like take other people with her. She had no real feelings for Alan as he was going through it as well. It was really all to self-serve her. And so as we've been saying about her for a long time, she actually showed that even more in this episode as well, how self-serving she is for somebody who she never liked. Like it never came across that she ever liked this dude or was hurt by what he was doing because, now that she's trying to find out the truth. It was also that she could save face. And I just didn't like that at all. And as far as Alan, the one thing I'll say about Alan that I'm sort of disappointed in and like also feeling really sorry for him is that like he had, even though he's like, yeah, I know she didn't really like me. And please, he didn't just spend $3,000. Invisalign costs also, okay? Like, this is a lot of money he was doing for somebody who didn't give him anything. And I just want to know, like, why do you do that much for someone who doesn't do anything for you? And again, I was talking to my friend. I was just like, we've all had that moment where somebody was so fine that we was like, I don't care. I will still go for it because I'm going to look good next to him, or we're going to look good, or for this moment, it's going to be good. But it's just not ever worth it, especially when you're in your mid-30s, to be still acting like that. You should love yourself more and know that you can get someone better than that. But I'm not going to lie. She has upgraded him, because if y'all saw his whole look on this episode, he looked way better than he has looked in all the other episodes. So he will be probably good for the next, because the upgrades were well needed. You could definitely see the difference. For me, it's just hard to rank them all because they all were just terrible. I would not want any of them to be my friends or anywhere near close to me. And if I saw any of them doing anything, I'm gonna be like, Carla, I ain't about to help you out, not one bit. I'm gonna watch you crash and burn. That's my opinion on that for now.
Appreciate it, Latoya. Elsid, what's your thoughts?
You know what's wonderful? What's wonderful? Last season, Sean and I were struggling to get maps back on the radar on this channel. And now we're back with a bang. So while Sean and I are going to have disagreements tonight, y'all better understand Sean's my buddy because maps is on the map, okay? So let me put it this way. We all know, and I started yesterday, Madison, David, trash for what they're doing. But in the back of my mind, because I watch other Married at First Sights International, I'm like, is this scripted? So that's at the way back of my mind. But hear me out. What I didn't like with Michelle, what y'all expressed, it was self-serving. She did not like this man. But this man technically is her husband in this show. So yes, investigate, call him out. That is your husband for 8 weeks. Call him out. My issue is when she goes to Alan multiple times to activate Alan, to suss out from Alan what's going on. It seems like she was looking for a knight to fight her battle, but she was already fighting it. She was already going to David, already going to Madison. She was already handling business. So Alan really didn't need to be drawn in it. Alan will find it himself. I put it in a comment yesterday. Yes, everything will come to light, but I do not need to be the person holding a flashlight. We know people that we may have tried to save in relationships, and we are the bad guy for bringing the information in the news. Here's where the other part of it, and I'll end with this. In real life, please don't do this. This is a show. This is a production. Please don't do what Michelle did in real life. People in Alan's position, David's position, or even Madison's position could get hurt. That is a reality in our real life. You going to someone and telling them you suspect their wife may be up to dirt? You have no idea how that man or that wife is going to react. So while we're watching a produced show, let us keep that in mind. It is a produced show. But please don't take this and do this. You know how they have that disclaimer? Please don't do this at home. Please don't do this at home.
Go for it, Sean.
Yeah, Al said you're 100% right. You know, you are 100% right about us, you know, being back invested in maths and us being on the same page about that for sure. I guess I just have a little bit of a problem with the logic, similar to, you know, what CWAY was saying earlier around trying to find a way somehow to offload what Michelle and what Madison and David did and offload that. And we spent a lot of time talking about how much energy she spent being a detective and getting to the bottom of it. You know, I just feel like we just have to find a way to dislike her because she disliked David. You know, and everybody can scream we're wrong, but I think there's something to it when a woman doesn't like something from a man. I think when a woman outwardly rejects a man, men have a hard time dealing with that. And they want a woman to do it a very particular way. And in some instances, some folks that are squirming and screwing up their face, it has to do to previous triggers. And we all have a right to be triggered, but then we offload that onto that person, and then we find a way to make them the scapegoat of something, or we find a way to make them guilty of something because they have the audacity to not like us. And hey, if that's how you're offloading the stress and the pain that you had from being rejected, go for it. We've all been rejected. I've been rejected by women in the past before. I'm not going to look at every woman and then find a way to make her the villain of my story. I just feel like let Michelle be Michelle. She is who she is. I don't need to put a cape on her. She's not a perfect woman. However, there's no way we can equate her with villainous behavior. Meanwhile, David has been playing around and developing a connection with Madison for quite some time. And if we want to go dark arts, he's been pretending that and using Michelle's dislike of him as a guise for him being able to do what he wants to do, because it was Michelle's dislike for him that made room for him to be able to be willy-nilly in the streets with Madison all hours of the night. So, hey, I just feel like at the end of the day, David is a liar. He has continued to lie. The things that he has said that he had, the things that he said that he was prepared to do don't measure up. And then he found comfort in the arms of someone else that was willing to take him in the right circumstance. And she too is a liar, deceptive, knowing that Alan liked her and having a willingness to sit around here and play in Alan's face. Meanwhile, she's tipping in the door at all hours of the night, talking about she's with her friends and she still wants to party. Problematic, the both of them. And then they're going to lie and smile in these same people's faces at the end of the day and look across with them, with the people that they are. Meanwhile, they're sleeping with each other. He's so sloppy. He's texting, somebody else when he means to text her. Then he continues to lie when she asks him. Michelle's asking him for the truth. Once it comes out that something fishy is going on, and he continues to lie, continues to double down on the lie until it all falls apart. Then he acts like a complete jerk, completely rude, completely unhinged when he's backed up against the wall. Mean, rude, nasty. His mask has slipped. I don't know why you people want to make him a nice guy. He's never been a good person. I don't know why we want to give him so much leniency. Oh, because he was rejected by a woman. So what? Like, he gets a pass to do what he wants to do in a marriage? Well, they're married. I don't care how untraditional it is. They signed up, they're married, it's legal, it's on paper. And you're not supposed to be adulterous. And the minute, I don't care if it was 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 minutes, two hours, you're not supposed to, just because somebody doesn't like me, then that excuses me going off and finding somebody else to fill my needs. You're not ready for marriage. They're not ready for marriage. And that's it. And how we excuse that or try to bend ourselves into a pretzel to understand and find empathy for someone who has low character, low morals, low standing, I can't get with it.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
You can go, Trey.
Wait. Hey, Sean, thank you for kicking off the panel. This is the kind of argument we need, because I need a good argument before I go for my run later on. But Sean, can I just say this? I actually hear you 80%. The other 20% is that I don't like the fact that you and CWAY are labeling us, because you're labeling us, by the way, inadvertently. You're labeling us as some of the points that we're making. Now, you're kind of projecting, because we've already said that David's not good. We said, David, we don't rock with what David done. But you gave a greater expulsion of what his behavior was. Fantastic. Thank you. You're giving a greater expulsion. We are giving a greater expulsion of Michelle. But when you say that because of the reason why we're coming against Michelle is because we think because she rejected a man, makes no sense, because Madison done rejected Alan. Yet we're coming at Alan, not Madison. So how does that work? So when you label us in that space, and you're saying us, I'm going to take it as me, because even though you weren't saying my name directly, you were indirecting now, that's fine. We like to have this kind of conversations. But when you label it as being in that space, right, that we are doing it because we're misogynistic in some sense, or we just don't like women in that sense, or we have a problem when women do it, I would hear what you're saying, but it doesn't add up. Because like I said, the Madison situation is the same way. She rejected Alan. So my smoke should be for Madison and gun-ho her. The reality of the situation is many people don't, if you go on Twitter, women and men are like, and a majority of women, because men don't really watch this show as much, but majority of women will tell you, listen, they don't like what Michelle done. So they don't even care she got cheated on, but they're still saying David's wrong, which is what we've said. So is that to do because they're misogynistic? No, it's because when people do nasty things, people don't like them. That's just a natural human reaction to when people does this. So it's going to be very hard for people to have empathy or sympathy for you, because like right now, if they tell us that a man was cheating on Ike from the very beginning, am I going to have sympathy for Ike? Hell no. I'm going to cuss him out and be like, yeah, what do you expect her to do? You was a prick. So when you label us in that space and as it's I don't like that personally. You know what I'm saying, Chu? Because I'm not labeling you just because you like KARLA as, well, you're out here just simping for women. I ain't saying that. I said you like KARLA. I don't call you a simp for liking KARLA and making excuses for KARLA when she ain't got a job and she ain't go home. I just kill it as you like KARLA. It's fine. But you started labeling, and that's the part I don't like.
How do you get in it? Where did KOJO come from? How did you get in it?
No, because he indirected. So and that's what us.
Only person I said had misogynistic takes was EASTON, and that was
but I agree with EASTON. But I was more aiming at Sean than you.
Okay, because I want to go back and forth
because me and Sean can go back and forth.
Misogynistic, and that was EASTON. I stand on that. I was
No. Yeah.
It's okay, twin. You was wrong anyway.
You are so silly. No, I was coming at Sean because me and Sean can go back and forth. So that's why I'm going back like that, because me and Sean can actually go back and forth. So I'll let Sean respond, innit? So because me and Sean can go back and forth without it getting crazy. So he can call me all sorts of names and we can go back and forth. Yeah, Sean, please respond.
So, do you have your listening? You have your listening. I just want to make sure.
Let me sit up.
I think I might have triggered you, and if I did that, I'm sorry. Because that was not my intent was to call you out, though, and get your attention. Because my point with you is that I think when that scenario comes on, you just go balls to the wall. You go balls to the wall when you see a woman that has rejected a man for whatever reason. And that was more so my point with you. I was aligning with CWAY around EASTON, definitely. And listen, it's a very layered thing, and I don't expect everybody to get it. It's just like I liken it to a white person who doesn't dislike Black people or other races. However, they're not anti-racist. So there's levels to it. You know, there's levels to understanding and getting into the root of it, especially as a man, some of the things that we do when we engage with women. And some of it is just society. And I would never say that I'm 100% innocent of it. There's things that we do. And I think us having an acknowledgement of some of the things that we do as it relates to women, I just feel like we need to tap into that. And that's something that, you know, in certain instances, especially when I see it coming out, I'm going to call it out, you know. And KOJO, yes, you are great. You are embracing, you are loving of women, but you are still a man. You're still a man. And there's times when you will do things that have a little bit of that energy in it, you know, that it's just there, you know. And sometimes it's that, sometimes it's something that triggers us. We all do it. We all gravitate to things that kind of just irk us because it resonates with us in some sense. And I do think we just are spending an inordinate amount of time, in an inordinate amount of time. Like, of course, Michelle has been who she's been, but I feel like it's an inordinate amount of time trying to put her in this category. Meanwhile, doing that, not directly, but indirectly, offloads some of the blame from what David and Madison are really doing. So I just feel like this is an inordinate amount of time to be talking about Michelle's a villain. Michelle's done this. Look how she's manipulated Alan. When at the end of the day, she's trying to get to the bottom of it. She's trying to understand, hey, what's happening? Somebody's lying to me, sending me off in another direction, and I have to figure out what direction is where's the truth. So I just feel like, yeah, she's not the most pleasant of people. I do. I don't think that. I wouldn't love to be around her, but I'm surely not going to put her in a villain category and spend a lot of hours talking about how much she's a villain. And then meanwhile, give David a pass. Oh yeah, she never liked him. You know, it's okay. I can understand it. I can identify with it. No, I don't identify with that because it's lowbrow behavior. It's 100% manipulative. David sat up here and told her it was sexy that she's bold. It was sexy that she tells how she feels. You know the level of dark arts that takes? Meanwhile, you're over here carrying on with another woman, and you tell the woman that's telling you she doesn't like you for various reasons, and you telling her you like that? Yeah, that's highly problematic. I think we should spend a lot of energy on how he was able to twist himself into a pretzel to talk like that.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to get in Ben's business, but I do want to add that, KOJO, I would love for you and Jay to spend the same amount of time you did this morning on Michelle on that, because I do think that there's so much to be learned. I'm not even being facetious about how twisted and diabolical that was. I know EASTON acts like this is a dime a dozen, but I personally haven't seen someone pull the level of manipulation that David pulled on this season. That doesn't happen all the time. I would love that breakdown.
Respectfully,
CWAY. And that's why we're going to disagree, though, because I don't see the same level. Like I said, I don't see the same level, and that's why we're going to agree to disagree. And that's why I said that's why I was coming back at Sean. I was like, I don't see how you can level anything at me, because I have different levels for different people depending on how I'm seeing it. So I'm going to hold a certain level of smoke for Alan that I didn't hold for David, Because like that's why I said I agreed with Easton, because I said I see myself in Alan as at one point, so I'm gonna be biased in some sense. So when I smoke Alan, I'm giving both sides of the perspective. That's why I said to you when I'm giving smoke to David, I'm going, I know what it takes to do that kind of thing because you have deficiency within yourself. I explained those things, and so I'm explaining that. And at the same time, if you're heavier on David, continue. Why would you want? What you're telling me to do is I have to come to your side and do what you're doing. And I'm saying to you, but you're already doing it. So why do you want me to come to that side? If you are on a panel, which we've been the last 2 days, and you are hammering that side, guess what I don't do? Sean, come on to the other side. Why? Come on. I'm like, bro, you're already hammering her. So you're already hammering David. Hammering David. I'm not telling you to move. I'm telling you to stay there. I'm saying I'm gonna focus on Michelle, because that's where I see the manipulation, and I think people are not necessarily seeing it. The same way you're saying to me, I'm not seeing the manipulation about David, but I'm not telling you to stop talking about David. You're trying to tell me to stop talking about David. That's the control aspect. You're trying to tell me to stop talking about Michelle and come more onto your side. I'm like, but we are seeing two different sides, and it's okay to have the other side and you have the other side. Is that not okay to have those two different sides?
I wasn't
that you see it from your place? No, I'm talking to Sean, by the way, not you. I'm specifically at Sean. My smoke is specifically for me and Sean because we've got the same glasses right now. We both 4 eyes, so
I just know you have a large. What I want to say, KOJO, is because of your platform, you do let all of us have our speak our piece, and you speak your piece. But there are people who take your solo videos as the heaviest point, the point that needs to be focused on. And so when you focus solely on Michelle and not do the dark arts that can be learned about David, there are people who are going to think that that is the biggest issue because that's what you gave your individual time. Now, you know, I'm the last person to tell you what to do. I'm just giving you that perspective that when you do a singular video on one topic and then like David's dark arts, which to me, you know, I'm not in the dark arts specialty, but I do think there was a lot of dark arts and manipulation. I'm not telling you what level to put it on. I'm not telling you which level to put it on, but I do think that something about what David did, there's a lot that can be learned from it. And when that doesn't get an individual video, there are people who may not find that to be of any significance. That's all that I was saying. Now you could talk to Sean, but that's what I was saying.
I mean, that's fair, but I do that with a lot of different subjects where I choose one thing specifically that I want to highlight. Do you get what I'm saying to you? That's the difference. I want to highlight it because I believe I can add the most value in that area. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So when I'm looking at David's situation, I'm like, people already know about David. He cheated. There's so many videos on cheating. So it's for me, it looks obvious. So I like to pick things where it's not as obvious. If you look at a lot of my content, you'll notice that I try to pick things where people are not necessarily seeing the thing. So I'm like, oh, I can see that. Let me add something so that you can see the thing that I'm seeing. That's why I do it that way. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So I'm saying I choose an angle. Also, I also know what is going to be the most popular thing that's going to pop off. It's a business at the end of the day. So I'm also gonna choose what's going to make people talk the most. So I choose that when I'm like, all right, that one, I know I can explain it the best way. And if I explain it the best way, people are going to understand where it's coming from. That's why I do it that particular way. So I get where some people might feel some type of way about it. But like I said, I choose certain things that I want to talk about. This thing highlight because I know I can add the most value. I understand it, which is why I did a whole diatribe when I spoke about it in the last video yesterday about Alan's situation. And that's why I'm heavy on Alan, because I'm also similar to Alan in the past. So see, so that's what I'm trying to say to you. Like, I spoke for a good 20 minutes about Alan, about how I'm like him. So I know what it takes to be in that position and why you need to be accountable. So I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying that in that space, that's why I do those kind of things. So I will choose an angle to come at something specifically, and I highlight men and I highlight women. You know what I'm saying to you? So if something resonates with me, I'm like, all right, that's what resonates with me. That's going to make more sense. But I get what you're saying. I'm not saying, in that aspect. It's because sometimes I'm looking at it as we had a debate yesterday and everybody was saying, okay, now I can add a bit more and show this side of things. That's all. You know what I mean? Like, you know, David doesn't interest me like that because I think everyone knows about David. That's what I'm saying. But go, Sean.
Yeah.
And I'll let everyone jump in after.
This is where I have a couple of points of disagreement with you. It's the same way when we were talking about right before the whole thing fully broke out, but we kind of knew where it was going. And I was harping on David, and both you and Easton spent an inordinate amount of time trying to convince me to now spread my smoke over to Madison. That's what I'm doing with you. And so, yes, sometimes you do encourage us to lean in a different way or come to your opinion. And I think that, and then also, ever since it came out that David was in fact cheating with Madison or cheating in general, you've constantly excused it. And you and EASTON and others have constantly excused it and said, oh, it's okay. I can see why he doesn't do that, constantly, and minimizing it. And the more you do that, the more you push down the priority of its importance. And then you elevate the importance of harping on to Michelle. But meanwhile, it just gets so minimized about David. But we're not even delving in to see if there's anything that is covert about the things that David did. There's a lot of stuff that we can dive into. And of course, it's your channel. You could do what you want and focus what you want. But in this particular argument, where we're talking about different sides and what I think and what I see, I'm seeing that you're overly focusing on Michelle and putting David at the bottom of the pile to just find a way to offload from him because you're excusing it. You know what I'm saying? So that's my perspective.
Wait. So wait. So do you say that I also pushed down Madison? Have you noticed that you don't mention Madison?
Yeah,
so I'm not choosing either side. Listen, so every time you spoke about it, you spoke about for me pushing down solely David, but it's not just David, because I don't talk about Madison either. I'm focusing on Michelle. That's my whole point. And that's why I said when you label it, gotta be very careful because you label it almost as if I'm on against women only, and I'm like, no, both Madison and David, I don't speak about much. I kind of leave them to the side. Yes, maybe I give them less smoke. You're absolutely right. I will say that. For both of them, I give them less smoke and I focus more on Michelle. Absolutely. So it's not just women. It's them two in general. I've put less on them and put more on Michelle. The same way that you don't put smoke on KARLA.
Madison as the number one. Because in the past, when we were talking about the whole thing, you said Madison was more culpable. Madison is more diabolical than David.
She is. From my perspective, she is.
How can you just say 2 seconds ago?
But I don't spend time talking about her. That's my point. I do not spend time talking about her, Sean. That's the whole point. No, how much time have I spent talking about Madison?
Very little.
Very little, Sean. Come on, Sean.
You're missing the point. The point is not we're going to sit here and do a 10-minute mark about the disproportion. You have spoken about Madison. You just said, I didn't even talk about Madison. You did. You had an opinion. And then you also elevated her above David in terms of how diabolical she was. So you did have an opinion. I'm not necessarily calling you.
I'm not saying I don't have an opinion at all.
Misogynist. I'm saying my point to you, my shot to you, because I think you're conflating the misogyny that was talked about earlier with the other part. The part I'm talking about is the fact that you dislike Michelle because she triggers something about rejecting David. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not really
rejection
to you about misogyny.
I don't like mean people. You're right, though. I'm triggered. I don't
she
like
was
mean people.
That's
I don't
why
like mean people,
care.
and that's my point. And you switched it. That's why I had to fight you back. I was like, wait, you're switching it to misogyny. I'm saying no, I don't like mean people. So I am triggered by it because we're all triggered by something. So I'm triggered by that. Yes, I don't like mean people. It could have been a man. I don't like the meanness. I don't like Ike the way he treats MM. I've been treated that way before, so I don't like him. I don't like Ike. You know what I'm saying to you? But you keep focusing on David, and I'm telling you that I rarely speak about David and Madison, but you keep focusing on David. So are you going to admit you're triggered? But you keep telling me I'm triggered, and I'm going to be saying, you're right, I'm triggered. But are you going to admit you're triggered? Because you keep labeling us the man then.
You know, I'm not triggered by David because I'm a man and I don't deal with men. So I'm not triggered by it. But what I am is I am alert, I'm aware, I'm heightened by the fact that I can see very clearly when a man is doing manipulation. I can see that because I take off the hat of the bro code and I look at, what if Michelle was my daughter? What if Michelle was my friend? Would I be able to spot out the things that David is doing and call it out? So that's what I'm doing. I'm not triggered. I'm just acknowledging the fact that men have a capacity to move mad.
She was mean from the get-go.
We admitted that. We already admitted that, Sean. That's the point. We already admitted that. So what are you talking about? We admitted that.
Yeah, no, we're admitting it, but then we're spending a lot of time trying to now put Michelle in a villain category. And so
she's in the villain category. That's my point.
She's always, John, she's always been in the villain category, regardless of what David has done past him cheating with Madison. From day one, since they got off the altar, she was mean to that man. Regardless, he was even acting as if he liked her. Yes, that's dark arts, that's manipulation. Yes, but Michelle was still lying. She was still mean to him. She was still doing a whole bunch of stuff.
What was she lying about?
She said when she was telling the coaches that she was really she was thinking about giving him a chance and stuff like that. She was lying, was she not?
Sure.
They're all lying. So you're a liar. You're a liar. So now we got Michelle as a liar, a manipulator. Yeah, there we go.
They all have been villains.
Her lying that she's giving him a chance in the same category as him manipulating, pulling somebody out of their relationship. So they're all in the same
the Lord
boat.
I serve says no sin is greater than another.
Okay. I was going through that. The Lord you serve also talks about adultery. The Lord you serve also talks about deception.
And no sin is greater than another. So
Okay, so I want that same amount of biblical exhortation when you get to talking about David. I want that same biblical exhortation when you talk about Madison. And where's the grace? Where's the love? Where's the kindness for Alan when you are going after him for
don't have it. He had homework.
relationship work?
He had homework for the misogyny. He did none of it.
No, I said the greatest issue, and we got so many people who haven't talked. The greatest issue with Alan is that he was in his own. He was the creation or part of his own demise. He could have gotten out.
I think Alan triggers you, Easton. I don't know. It has to, because you must have been a good guy, nice guy. At some point, somebody did you bogus.
I see him and I'm like, bro, you 35. This isn't your first love. You ain't been.
But your animosity towards Alan is just like how I feel about KOJO.
Because we're
it's a fixation.
No, we're talking.
It's the same with Sean having fixation against David, and it's the same that Sean has. Everybody has a fixation. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So stop calling out a fixation, because everyone's got one.
Everybody needs to get healed.
Everyone's got one. We just need Sean to make a video on his channel. That's what we need. We need Sean to make a video on his channel.
Don't need that much time. Phil going to talk a little 20-30 minutes.
If Phil got a fixation against Karla, y'all need some healing. It's Phil and Karla.
But nobody comes out and tells you that you're a feminist.
I actually like Karla this week. Don't bring her up.
But nobody comes out and says that you're a feminist.
Let me like Karla this week. Let me like her. Don't bring her up. No, don't do it.
No, that was good. I feel better. Thank you, Sean, for allowing me to go back and forth with you. Let me get some people to talk as well, so they can be part of the conversation. I know Elsie's been quiet. I know Phil's been quiet. I know Latoya's been quiet as well, and CWAY hasn't spoken much, because I know me and the boys were kind of going back and forth and Trey. I know you'll get in as well. Elsie, talk to me. What's your thought process? I know we we went deep there.
I think where I kind of agree and on KOJO's side of things is that David and Madison, for me, are the low-hanging fruit. They're cheaters. They're cheating on their spouses. It's not anything that many of us haven't seen before. People sneaking in, people playing in somebody's face. It's low-hanging fruit. I think that many people wouldn't see how Michelle used this to her advantage, or use this to get what she needed to confront David, but also manipulated Alan. I think the nuance of that, a lot of people won't see. So that's where I'm, more leaning on the side with KOJO, because David, Madison, low-hanging fruit. We can't talk about them for hours, but again, I'm sure many people have seen or, witnessed their foolishness in a lifetime or heard it. I mean, that's where I'm coming from. But very little do people actually see a Michelle in action and see them planting seeds of doubt and drawing someone out. And then to see it play out right there in front of you, I think is where I'm kind of like, that there is diabolical. I'm not ranking any one of them. I think based on our life experiences, somebody will be higher on the spectrum than another. So my thing is the diabolicalness of Michelle trying to come out of this cleanly. She never liked that man from day one. And that's okay. That's okay if she never liked David. And that's okay if she found out that her husband is cheating and she confronted him. But the rest of it, I gotta side eye her, because unless production telling us, unless she comes out and say, I have to stay here so I don't be fined. But even so, you don't have to cause all this wreckage. And as I said, my personal thing is, don't try this at home, because people can get hurt in real life.
I like to tap in, finally.
Go for it.
I think the reason why Michelle is getting the smoke to piggyback off of Elsid is because of how she approached that scene with Alan, but also in the very beginning, even though she did not like him, and we all want to credit her for being honest, the girl was mean as hell. She was just really mean. Like, there's still other ways you can go about talking about you not liking someone, and she just was not nice. And I believe she just wants to make that, like, want to make you forget that. I can't forget, even when I was tweeting on X, when I was live tweeting, at the very end, I said, and I still don't like Michelle. Like, I still don't like, because her behavior has, like, because again, it's not as, it's more subtle than Madison and David. Like, we've seen that behavior before. It's trash. It's, to me, it's easy to notice or to have that intuition like Michelle. I don't even give Michelle all that credence for like having the intuition. Like, it's not necessarily hard to have noticed what has been going on. But the way in which she was mean to someone because she didn't like, even though she did not know that it would come to this, the why of it all, I don't like it. She can be better. And then by also being self-serving towards Alan and not really caring that this dude was about to like go crazy and crash out, which it's okay for him to have an emotional reaction over what he just heard. I'm not cool with it. I think if it was, we've seen the Madisons and the Davids a lot, and we're going to make a choice. We're either going to be around and be like, you bogus, bro, or girl, I wouldn't have really did that. But the way Michelle was calculated in that scene with Alan, no go. So I just wanted to add that. And I just said, you know, two things can be true. Yes, we're all on here, even the people in the chat, we will project and we will be more passionate about things where we see ourselves in them, right? And we need to all adjust and like really get to the root of why. But also, you can't unsee certain things. Like, this man came on this show, they picked him to be on this show, David to be on this show. And then when we got to his house or the basement, it exposed a lot about him. And so that's why when I said I can't really give one a good, better, best, they all are on the same level for me. I don't want to be cool with none of them for very different reasons.
Can I ask Latoya, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Are you not mean to somebody who you suspect is playing in your face? How do you treat someone who you feel like is playing in your face, lying to you, being misleading and disingenuous on a day-to-day basis? Because I feel like you don't take nothing off of people. So I'm trying to figure out how you act.
For me, like, I'm just not gonna be around you no more. Like, I'm done. Like you won't see me no more. I'm not explaining myself to you. I'm not answering no calls. And so that's what I'm saying. In these type of situations, it makes it kind of hard because they have to keep on engaging.
Right, because she can't do that. She tried to do that. Remember, she took time away from him, but they're married and they can't do that. So I'm saying, like, how do you, if you're stuck in a situation, how do you go about it? I'm not trying to say Michelle isn't insufferable, but the reason why I say actually what David did requires an actual deep dive, because people are separating Michelle being mean and insufferable from David's gaslighting, manipulation, and games that he was playing from darn near day 1 and 2. And to me, if we're really putting it together, we can't do that. Michelle was not just acting in a vacuum. I feel like people are trying to act like Michelle is acting in a vacuum.
Anyway, cut them alert.
No, I mean, she's not capable of being mean. But what I'm saying is that you guys are underestimating what she was seeing.
You're overestimating it.
No. Before you guys
anything.
go in on that, I think like as a researcher, we have to account for the variables. Is that
that's all I'm saying. You have to account. All I'm saying is I'm not, and I'll let you go, but I'm not saying if then this then that. All I'm saying is when we're having a nuanced discussion, we need to also account for what was done in the dark. A person who is intelligent is going to feel things, sense things. Now, did she know he was cheating with Madison? No, but she knew that he was being disingenuous. She did know that. She knew something was up.
But to your point, the variable is that they are on a show with cameras. In real life, I'm gonna tell you I don't like you once. If you keep on being in my face, like it's your fault for being in my face. If I told you I don't like you, right? They have to be on this show. So that's the variable that changes a lot in these situations that I don't like because it does put it in toxic territory. And then you get to see people really be mean because they're forced in these situations. That's all I'm saying. Like, even if we wanted to talk about like Ikechi or whatever, like real life Ikechi off of cameras probably would have just bounced first show. But because he's on here, it's harder for him to keep on like saying, I don't like you. Or
I gave that nuance. That's the crazy thing. I'm all about nuance in 2025. I said that about Ike. I said Ike was crashing out because his inability to deal with MM's constant questions once he had already decided that she had got on his god dog nerves was making him crash out. Now, does that take away from the fact that he already has internal issues before he met MM? No, but I'm able to provide nuance. My thing is we're having a lot of conversations about Michelle that lack nuance.
Okay,
and that's
okay.
all
Can I jump in?
But that scene was Emmy Award winning.
Hold on, let's wait for Landon and Trey after. Go for it.
Yeah.
No, finish. Let's finish. You was talking.
That scene was Emmy Award winning. So however she showed up, like she put on a show. And I think it just is a standout scene that can be talked about more because of like how amazing it was done production wise, all of it. So yeah, production heightened it. KOJO heightened it by talking about it more. That's what it is, you know. So, but I do agree. Like, yes, they all could have their own time to go a deep dive on. I don't think that there's no reason not, because we'll learn something from all of it. But I think that's just why she's getting it so much more. She's just mean, and she didn't show herself to be less mean the way in which she did Ellen.
Go for it, Trey.
I just want to say something right quick. It seems, because it just popped up multiple times, it seems like we are retroactively trying to excuse Michelle's behavior in the beginning for something that David has done now. Here's why I say that. When this show first started, when she met David, the only thing she had to go off was how he looked and to what he told her during their reception, saying that, yes, I stay in my mom's basement. She immediately, in her version, crashed out, ran to the bathroom, started crying to the rest of her friends. Oh my God, what am I doing? Why did it stick with him? This is ridiculous. Oh God. She was turned off from that moment on. All of this stuff here, we didn't know anything about David. To your point, I give you this one point. David probably didn't start his manipulation, as we call it, because I can see it. I'm not blind. But that didn't start until about day 3. During the honeymoon, when she told him, you know what? I need my space for you. Don't even talk to me. Don't even check up on me. And he had to walk out of the room, go spend time in the resort, walking around aimlessly, sitting on stuff. That's when this whole thing with Madison really started. That's when it started. So this whole idea of Michelle clocked something from the beginning, she probably did. The only thing that she actually clocked was the fact that she got put with the man that off rip she didn't like because of his living circumstances and maybe how he looked. And she wasn't feeling it. That is her choice. It's her choice. But the way she acted about it, she showed her behind doing it. That's the only thing that at least I have been pointing out about her since day one. It's just a certain way you do things. and I wasn't feeling her since then. Now, David, as time has went along, has shown himself to be completely unreprehensible. Completely. No one has downgraded that. No one has really disagreed with y'all points about David. If you've noticed, no one has disagreed with you. He is what you have said that he is. The only main disagreement that has ever been about David, honestly, was his living situation. No one actually agreed upon that because we had different opinions on that. But everything else, everyone has agreed about. So this whole idea of, oh my God, we letting David live, this and that. No, he has been catching smoke every week. Y'all have just been the loudest about it, which is your right to do so. No one has disagreed with you. Just like it's our right to point out some things about Madison that we have been seeing. But the only thing that has been bothering me is it's happened once, about 3 times now. We are retroactively trying to make Madison, trying to excuse Madison's behavior for something that David has done now and make it seem like she saw it in the beginning. There's no way possible that could have happened. No way possible.
No, what I was saying, Trey, is that she saw him being disingenuous and a liar from the beginning. I'm not saying she the treat, because from the very beginning he was portraying himself to, so let's start from the beginning. In the day one, she was pissed at the experts. Let's be clear. She was pissed at the experts, and she took it out on David because the experts put her with a man who smokes, a man who lives in his mama's basement, a person who wasn't black. I mean, Puerto Rican, I guess you would count it, and a person who just didn't meet any of the aesthetics, exterior, interior that she asked for. Then after that, she was trying to make David work, right? And she was having a temper tantrum about that. I'm not saying she didn't. We all agree day one. She was having a temper tantrum because she didn't get what she want from the experts. She just signed a whole lifelong commitment, allegedly. That's her right to have a temper tantrum. She should have handled it better, but she didn't, right? Day 2 and on, day 2, 3, and whatever it was, David was trying to portray himself as something that she was slowly figuring out that he was not. She was asking questions and he wasn't. Then once we got to the mama basement,
no, she wasn't. She never asked him questions. That's what he was. His biggest complaint
talking,
was
trying to figure out his finances.
Hold on. Let her land.
Where did he live? The things that he liked to do, and he was saying things that he could not back up. Then she was talking to his family, trying to figure out why he was living in the basement. Then the family was lying for him because they was male identified people who were sitting here trying to coddle him. Yes, this is the truth. So I'm not retroactively saying nothing. Michelle was putting 2 and 2 together. Then there was a time where she didn't even care to figure out nothing about him. In that time, he was running off with Madison.
All of those points.
Coming back to her, talking about he's trying.
All of those points. Well, first of all, both of them were lying about that. Okay, both of them were not trying. They was capping to the experts, say, "Hey, let's give this a chance." We all know if they were not on the contract, they would have left a long time ago. So all this trying mess, stop it. We know they weren't trying. David was right about that. You weren't trying, but they lied and say, we're going to try and keep this going, blah, blah, blah. We know what it was since the get-go, since the beginning.
Phil,
okay, I'm jumping in.
Before you go, Easton. Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to say that I love the Carnage. Oh my God, this is amazing. Michelle, my issue with Michelle telling Alan was not that she told Alan, it was that the fact that she tried to act obtuse and shocked about his reaction. You knew exactly what you were doing. You knew the man was going to be upset. So when he becomes upset, don't give me this, oh, Alan, I did mean to upset you. That's what irritates me. My second point is, I think 2 things can be true at once. I love the word nuance, but I think we got to stop using nuance to not hold people accountable. Because everyone has a choice in this situation. Because we've seen people end their marriages before on this show. So Michelle, Madison, David, Ikechi, everybody had the option of ending their marriage. So everybody has a choice. And just because you may not like this person that you're a match with, that doesn't mean you have to be rude and disrespectful. Is David trash? Yes. Was he wrong for cheating on Michelle? Yes, but it wasn't Michelle. Michelle was still nasty towards him. Before she had her hunches, but she didn't have evidence and proof. So just because I think you're doing something wrong, it doesn't give me a right to be nasty and disrespectful to you. Now, just to backtrack a little bit regarding the comments that everybody made about Madison and Michelle. Madison and David. To me, my first thought is I feel like we've held everybody accountable. I felt like we held Ikechi accountable for his bad behavior towards the men, and he was a man. In addition, I also remember us having a conversation a couple of weeks ago about who do we think is more to blame, Madison or David? And some people felt like KOJO said earlier, if you have a fixation on a person, you're going to say Madison. If you have a fixation on a person, you're going to say David. But I do think when we've been discussing this, that we've held everybody accountable. You know what? I feel like we've just held everybody accountable. But the one thing I want us to remember, like, it's no reason to be disrespectful and out of pocket with people. Like, I make jokes and, you know, I can be over the top. I know, admit it. But I'm never going to be in someone's face being rude or disrespectful for no reason unless you provoked me and you've done something nasty to me. That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Go for it, Elsid.
I just wanted to go back with the timeline as we stated before. Before Michelle knew anything, she was crashing out in the bathroom. She didn't want to know anything about David. She heard he was a smoker. She heard he lived with his parents. It was over then. It was over then. She couldn't even have fun with the other couples on the wall. They couldn't even talk finances. He could not ask questions. He was smothering her. So the whole thing about Michelle, yes, she sussed him out, especially with that basement. She caught it right away with the basement and the state of the basement. We will give her that. But before that, the honeymoon, anything, she did not ask him anything except one question. So your mama does your laundry? That was it. She really didn't have anything to ask him. She didn't want him asking her about herself. So yes, she did not like that she was paired with David, and her anger at the expert's decision to pick David was taken out on David. You cannot like David. Many people don't like David. They don't like him for many different reasons. The thing is that her behavior is hers. Like we say, David's behavior of cheating, that's on David. Michelle's behavior, that's on Michelle. So we can like neither one of these people, but what I won't do is pretend like Michelle was ever putting her toe in to test any waters at all. She was there to do her 8 weeks so she didn't get fined. That was it. And if you're doing that, why do you need to light a match to the whole thing? That's my thing. You call your husband out, but you don't have to tinker around in somebody else's. Even if Madison was the lady, which she proved now, even if Madison, you do not have to be the one holding the torchlight. You do not have to be the one holding the pin to burst Alan's bubble. You don't have to be. So again, she can handle her marriage as she sees fit. But when you start dragging Alan in, and these are people you only know for 6 weeks, and there's no security on set, yeah, I wasn't saying a word. I might have handled David in that situation. I might have handled him away back at the apartment and be like, you need to move out or move out myself.
Let's reset the room. That was good. Listen, well done, everyone. Listen, we're going to continue the conversation, but that was amazing. I enjoyed that. You know, I hope no one took it too seriously and no one's got any hurt feelings, because I actually really enjoyed the back and forth. You know what I mean? I get to fight with Sean a little bit, you know what I'm saying, to you know, because we don't fight with women around here. But Sean gonna be angry at me, I'm sure. But he gonna fight me later on. No, I'm playing. But no, listen, look, I'm enjoying the conversation. I think everyone's got different points of view, and I think it's good. Like, we need to have those eclectic views, you know what I'm saying, Chew? It makes for a really good conversation. And as I said, I'm always learning, listening anyway, because when people have different opinions, yes, I like to debate. But as I'm debating, I'm listening. So, you know, I appreciate it, having a different points of view from that. So I know the conversation is flowing and it's going to right direction. Let me just read some of the super chats before you guys jump back in again. Nola says, Easton, you speak as if Alan just wanted to smut her out. He should expect certain things from his wife. Now he's a simp. You low-key diabolical, sir. Okay. Sorry, Easton. I would read the other one, but the other one was a bit more ruder to you, and I can't read that one to you. Rose said, let's keep it a buck. Michelle likely did the most to try and break David's character. He was way too passive, a nice guy. He behaved unrealistically. Shout out to August Love. I haven't seen you around for a little while. August Love, it's good to see you, man. Hopefully you can get you to join these panels again. So we'll see you soon. Please message me on Insta, and I definitely will chop it up with you as well. Shout out to Are You Open? Am I Open as well for joining the membership as well. We appreciate you as well. Queen of Coco, Tulsa also has joined as well. God bless y'all for joining the membership as well. I hope you guys are enjoying the conversation. There's almost 600 people in the room, and I know the conversation is flowing. Many people got different points of view. It's interesting. The poll actually is up, and the poll says after 347 votes, 68% of people believe that Madison is the diabolical one. Isn't that interesting? So I think, hey, look, I didn't even do a video on Madison, but Madison's the #1 villain here. You know what I mean? Apparently for the audience, you know, as well. So, you know, I think 17% for David, 16% for Michelle. Interesting stuff as well. I think when I go on Twitter, like I said, I think I see a lot of the same rhetoric, which is everyone says the same thing. And I think we were saying this from weeks ago, which is that if Michelle wasn't as mean in the beginning, I think we'd all have moved past it and be like, damn, David is this person. But when you have that behavior, it's hard to be able to look past that. And I think I said that weeks ago. You know, as well, I said that weeks ago, that it's very difficult to look at someone differently, because once they've done those things, people measure you by that behavior. So it's not her fault that David's done cheated. I don't think we've ever said that. I want to make that very clear. So if anyone thinks that, it is never anybody's fault apart from David's own fault, which is what I said about his own boundary issue and insecurities. And no one else's fault. Michelle didn't push him to go and do this. You know what I'm saying too? But the reality of the situation is Michelle has a behavior, David has a behavior, they're on their own and they do their own things, and they got to be held accountable separately for what they do in that space as well, right? And Madison is you know, she's diabolical too, right? She's part of the triad, just what we spoke about yesterday. The triad are all manipulative, is what we said, all three of them. And then we actually, Easton added a fourth one in there by saying Alan is also part of the manipulation because it's the nice guy aspect, right? So it's we're having these different points of view, and I think, again, everyone's got their own kind of perspective, and it's been interesting to hear the different points of view. So I'm interested to see where you got to take us. We got what, half an hour left before we have to end it because the 3 hours will come up. Easton will say something, and then Sean will go. I'm sure we'll go next as well. Go for it, Easton.
No, I feel like the assassination of my character is misaligned. I'm ashamed of you all, who specifically Sean and CWAY, for you to call me out of my name. But I thought I was giving a little nuance to Madison, because I have seen where women have had a tough time on how to exit a situation, because on paper you're supposed to be with somebody like Alan. I've seen it to where, you know, whether it be the situations of women, you know, not wanting the advances of men, and I've been pulled over to act as if I'm the boyfriend, or even seeing how relationships happen, or maybe mutual friends hook somebody up and they don't know how to exit the relationship because they're mutual friends, and so they don't want to hurt somebody, but they are interested in somebody else. And with Madison, I see that this is a show. Alan is supposed to be the guy that she likes, but she likes David. Alan is far better than David in so many different areas. It's not even funny, but her heart yearns for David in his basement. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, what goes into this? All right, well, she's on a show. She's supposed to like the nice guy because historically she's always been a party girl and never been taken seriously. So she should give the nice guy a chance. She has producers chirping in her ears. She has professionals and different things like that. And so in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, I can see how she would lie or do something to not hurt this person or come across as a good person by lying. Or in my mind, I think that they were going to try to stretch this relationship out towards the end and then let their partners down easy and then have their relationship go as it may. But David, being the ding dong that he is, he sent the wrong text message to the wrong M, and that blew up the spot. But the plans were going perfectly. She was lying to Alan, and David was lying to Michelle. That's all I was saying. But I'm the misogynist. I was just trying to give a little bit of perspective for Madison. Sorry.
Go for it, Sean.
Listen, don't be ashamed of me, bro. Don't be ashamed of me. We have been saying that you are red pill and sometimes red pill light. So I'm not sure what I'm not sure why this was such a reach. And I don't, and I will clarify, I don't think that, oh my God, you're just the worst person. You know, it can come off as harsh. Is it critical? Absolutely. But, you know, I can say I've been there too. And I think, you know, we just need to, especially us as men, need to continue to self-evaluate our actions. And we need to continue to evaluate the things that we do, why our opinions are formed in such a way and the way that they are formed. And I think some of them are rooted that way. And sometimes it is hard to not, because that's the way the world is. But I think we can make choices, different choices, better choices. And I have a lot of respect for you. You know, I've said it always. You are, you know, as chaotic as you can come with an opinion, you're always willing to listen. You're always willing to not jump off the ledge and be rude and nasty. So I have a lot of respect for you. And that's probably why I'm willing to call you out, just the same way I'll call out KOJO. KOJO's my brother. You know, I love this guy. So, and you know, similarly, I have respect for you. So when there's a spot that I think, hey, you might be missing the mark, I'm gonna mention it, you know, and we could talk through it. So I think that's what that is about. The thing with Michelle, and I'll end here, and I've seen it all across social media too. But there's also a contingent of people that are standing up for Michelle, similar to what CWAY and I are doing. There's this idea, and I think it's hard for us to get, you know, it's difficult. Everybody just might not agree with me, but it is called respectability. So we expect Michelle and women to show up a particular way and conduct themselves in a particular way. And when they don't do that, it just rubs us the wrong way. And that's why Michelle gets a very jarring opinion from people. And it doesn't excuse women, by the way. Doesn't mean women don't subscribe to these same beliefs too. But it just does en masse really get people's gut going when a woman behaves in a certain way. And when a woman has the audacity to say what she doesn't want. You go again, I'm not saying her execution is all right. I'm just saying how we can just excuse away him cheating and find ways to make her culpable for what he did. Even people were saying, I could understand why he cheated. I would do it too. There is something to that. And I think the only way we can kind of sit back and say, oh, shucks, like, how did we get here? Is by just continuing to peel back those layers. And, you know, that's my point.
But I think a lot of that has to do with her personality and the way she came across on the show. I agree.
Back to respectability, Phil.
No, well, I understand that, but if we're going to admit that she didn't have the best attitude, we also have to think about how that plays into how people will perceive her as well. Because if she was like Alyssa and Homeboy, he didn't cheat on her or nothing like that, but Alyssa was just very nasty towards him, and that's why Alyssa, you know, she wasn't the fan favorite. I think that with Michelle, I'm not excusing what David did to Michelle. What he did to Michelle isn't right, but I'm also not going to excuse that Michelle wasn't nice and she was nasty. And I think El Cid made an amazing point when her family and she did, well, he's asking me too many questions. He's doing X, Y, and Z. He's only trying to be decent to you, and you're still giving him all this smoke. And I think what happens is people forget that you win a lot more. You get a lot more bees with honey than vinegar. And I'm sorry, Michelle put out a lot of vinegar before she turned it into honey. And that's why some people have that opinion of Michelle. And I don't think it has to do with, I'm sorry if I'm quoting this word you said, respectability or anything like that. I think sometimes it's nothing wrong with calling out someone's bad behavior. But from what I'm hearing, Sean, that you want is we got to call out everybody's. And I think if we're going to call out everybody's, we have to acknowledge that Michelle did not come across as the nicest person on this cast.
I would say that I agree. I think the respectability aspect, I have already admitted, it is about respectability. You have to, like, we cannot pretend as human beings that we don't make, quote unquote, I'm going to use that word nuance, but we don't make decisions based on what we're seeing and hearing, right? And don't make exceptions for certain behaviors, right? I'm not saying him cheating is okay. I've never said that. It's not okay. But what I did say to you was, we are not going to care. We're not. It's the same with a man. If a catcher did, and that's why I said I want. That's why I challenged you back, Sean, by saying, well, you are forcing us into a circle, but I think is your own circle, because it had nothing to do with it being a woman. It's to do with, if you're mean to people, people don't want to root for you. And when they do something to you, we're not going to care. If Mem had cheated on a Ketchy, I will come and do a video, be like, thank God she cheated on that man. Because, blah, when we found out that Tyler was doing what he's doing and Ashley left him, thank God she left that man. But she got some accountability. You know what I'm saying, Chu? So we get excited when these things happen, right? So that's why I said you are forcing us into a circle, which I think you should have your own circle. Don't put me in a circle. Don't put us in a circle as if we're trying to make it as if it's a woman thing. No. Put yourself in that circle, because you're kind of projecting a little bit. This is about someone who's not mean, and people don't like mean people, whether you are a woman or whether you are a man. Now, there are occasions, and I will agree with you, Sean, where there are situations where specifically a woman doing the same thing as a man, and people might take the man's side more than a woman because, again, like you were saying, the respectability. You know what I'm saying, Chu? But and also do with the misogyny in that aspect. I would agree with you. In this situation, I think you forced it a little bit. It's similar to what we had the argument with the Ramsey situation, which I know we're going to disagree. So it's like you forced an angle, and I said, but you putting a label on us is where it gets a bit tricky, right? And I said, I don't want the label, so I'm going to fight you back, because I think like there's more to it than just that story. It's not just because she's a woman. It's because she is annoying. And when people are annoying or they're rude or disrespectful, it's hard for people to look past and be like, yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna leave it as it is. No, they're gonna be like, well, I'm not really cool about that. I don't like her anymore. Which is why it's not just the panel who's saying it. That's why you got most of the internet on Twitter saying the same thing, Sean. Because they see it. You people see something and they don't like certain things, right? So if they don't like certain things, most of us as human beings do not like rudeness. We don't. It's why we don't like Ike, right? We don't like Ike. We do not like Ike around here, right? We hate the way he behaves. We despise it. People have called him narcissist. People have called him all types of names. And we all agree. We all agree. Right? We all agree. If Emem now cheats on him, I'll be like, well, I don't know what you was expecting. Now, cheating would be wrong, but I'll be like, well, that's up to you. Bro, I get it, because what you've done. So it's not an agreement of the behavior being good or correct. It is wrong that he cheated, David. And it's not an excuse that Michelle treated him badly. There's no excuse for cheating. There is none. We're just simply saying, we don't care. Which is what I told you a few weeks ago. We're not going to care if they find out they're cheating because of the way that you treat them in the beginning. No one's going to care. And I think going back to that point about the retroactively applying it, I would say unless we find out that she knew, not that we found out, but if she knew from the very beginning that he was cheating, right, then I would understand. Okay, now we understand why the meanness was coming through. Now we understand why she was being disrespectful. Now we know why she was harping on about the basement situation. Now, do you know what I'm saying to you? But if it's not the case, then there's no case of what we're trying to combine her situation then and saying that it's okay why she treated me, because she sensed that he was a liar. She sensed she was a... No, you didn't sense anything. You didn't sense anything. It wasn't until the text came through that you sensed anything, right? And so that's what I would say. You know what I mean? But I agree with you. There is aspects of where that can be a case. I don't know if that case plays in this situation, but I do hear you on the fact that we do choose at certain points. We may back a particular side or whatever. So I'm with you on that, bro. You know what I'm saying to you? I would say that as well. Yes,
yeah, it is very rare. And, it is very rare when someone is called out for something where they see themselves as it being the antithesis, that they openly admit and say, yes, I see your point. you know, what I'm pushing back on and the points that I'm making are ones that are very hard for people to accept. And I don't care if 90% of Twitter doesn't like her. That doesn't make it right. We are here in the United States, and a good portion of the country elected Trump. You know, it was 2%, 2 million people was the margin, but the majority won, and he is now in office. Meanwhile, hey, don't want to get into politics, but he's not the nicest person. He's mean, very mean, and amongst a lot of other things. So people can get it wrong. So me seeing the majority of people agreeing or skewing to one side of the fence is not going to make me feel like, okay, maybe I'm on the wrong side of things. No, maybe y'all are on the wrong side of things and operating from a level of groupthink and feeling comfortable and confident in the societal norms that exist and saying, yeah, this fits what feels good to me. What I'm pushing back on is just the exact opposite of what feels good for me. So I have no buy-in. It doesn't benefit me. It benefits me to go along with what the consensus is saying because I benefit as a man. I benefit as a man to uphold these things that keep us propped up and not call out the stuff and not face backlash and pushback from other men and other people who disagree with me. So I have no reason to be on this side of things. And again, it's layered. So there's different layers. I'm not saying, oh my God, you're the worst person in the world. I'm saying your opinion is rooted in some things that are problematic. And that's, you know, that's how I feel.
So wait. Then you got to take your own advice. Because like you said, right, you have to look at it that you also may be wrong. What you're trying to say right now is you're right. And I'm saying to you, you can have that opinion. But you have to look at where your opinion is rooted in. Because right now, what it sounds like is I've done a lot of work and you're excitable and you are like when a Christian becomes a new Christian. And then they shade everybody. And everything becomes about their Christianity. It's like you don't have no grace for nothing. And then you start labeling everybody else. That's what you're doing right now. That's what we did with the Ramsey situation. So it feels a bit like that because we got labeled the exact same way with the Ramsey situation where we disagreed with you. Right? And it's like, oh, immediately you got to look at it because you definitely are, you're almost highlighting the fact we definitely are in that category that you're trying to put us into. And that's what I'm trying to say to you, bro. You may have to look at your own thing too and look at it as maybe you're not correct either. I'm just telling you that, listen, we have a different point of view that we can see things differently, but we're not labeling you as X, Y, Z. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Like, we're not labeling this X, Y, Z. You are willing to label us X, Y, Z without actually having no room to say it might be that. It's the same thing we have in the Ramsey situation. You immediately ran to that label thing. And I said, wait, bro, it may not be that. You have to look at it from a broader perspective. So you have an opinion, fair. But when you label, we're going to have to push back. You know what I mean? Like, you may be wrong, and I also may be wrong, but you know what I'm saying to you? Like, but if you're gonna say that what you just said a minute ago, which is around that idea of us being wrong, okay, you're absolutely right. We could be wrong, and you could be wrong too. So we have to be open with that on both sides. You know what I'm saying to you? Does that make sense? We have to be open with that on both sides. Is that fair? Would that be fair, Sean?
I think you have your POV, I have mine.
That's not.
You know, and I think you can label away. I don't care. You know, and I tried to preface it enough to
that was
try
crazy,
to
Sean.
clear
That was crazy.
that it was not necessarily a label I'm putting on you, but saying the idea could be rooted in some things that are problematic. Right?
You didn't say the first time round. You should have said that. That's why you should have said the first time round.
Listen, relax. I am clarifying at this point.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm clarifying, and what you feel doesn't move me. Like, I don't care. Like, EASTON can be mad, El Cid can be mad. That doesn't matter. You can call me a name. You can say I'm whatever. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, so you saying, oh, I shouldn't be labeling. No, you can label me. Label away. I feel like there's some problems that do need to be looked at. And unpacked about the way we think and that skew our opinions and form our POV.
I'll let Lito go and then I'll let the boys go in. Go for it.
So there was a part in the episode where, remember when Michelle was talking about David and like nobody kind of seemed to care. And when they had their side conversations, they were all kind of like, yeah, we kind of feel you, like basically alluding to they've seen how awful she's treated him. Again, him being whoever he is doesn't warrant her being as awful as well. And she kept bringing that part up, which again makes me, not care for Michelle as much, because part of me thinks she wanted to be vindicated because everybody was literally like not caring that this was happening to her. It's like now she wanted the sympathy and to cry the white tears now that she had felt something and had some intuition after she had really acted out like for almost 2 months with these people. So all I'm saying is, if we just look at her specifically, this is why she doesn't get much grace from me, because it seems like she was on a mission to try to have people see her, see me, what I'm saying, because they really all could have cared less. And so that's why we are still on this, because in specifics, Michelle she showed herself to be herself as well.
Trey, you want to say something? Go for it.
Ain't got too much to say. It seems like everybody just throwing shots and this end of the bystanders getting hit left and right. It's kind of interesting, especially from the one doing the shooting. Supposed to be the most responsible of everybody. That's crazy to me. But hey, it's a new year, new crash outs every year. That's what it is. Live your life, my brother. Live your life.
Oh, gracious. Yes, Easton, you want to say something? Go for it.
I'm just me, Kojo. We fresh and fit now. Trey is Kevin Samuels. It's a wrap. We done for. We got to end this whole thing. I like to think that I had fairness on both sides, because earlier in the season I held Mem, and I was the one who was saying Mem, she needs to leave. He done told her plenty of times that she should go, and everybody was like, no. I think I'm fair on both sides. Maybe there is a little bit of bias in the language, and even when my smoke for Alan, it's just, again, I think of things in the terms of what makes most sense. Like, what is the effective dose? Like, if you're a pharmacist, when they give you do the dosing, it's what's the effective dose for majority of the population. There's outliers on both ends. People have low sensitivity. Some people have high sensitivity. But what is most effective for most people? And in this case, with this love triangle or square, Alan, to me, seems like the greater populace of people. Now, if I was really on my red pill talk, I'd be like, see, all women are trash. You see how Madison did my boy Alan? But I wasn't, because I'm growing and I realized that there are nuances within Alan who made himself available for this manipulation. He was also complicit in his own demise. And so that's why I didn't take that stance, because we know we've seen plenty of other shows, i.e. Tyler and Ashley. There's a lot of Tylers out there. There's a lot of the Ketchies out there. Now I could use that same logic and be like, there's a whole lot of Madisons out there, or there's a lot of Michelles, but I don't do that, because now listening to you all, listening to the chat, I'm trying to take a more nuanced approach. And so that's what led me to being so hard on Alan, because out of everybody, he's a man, and two, he's had the ability to evacuate himself out of the situation so early on, and she never gave him any inclination, any sign that she was attracted to him or wanted him.
Listen, I love this, man. You know what I mean? I think, like I said, I think Sean gives some good feedback as well. I think it's always important to have these different aspects. Like I said, it's so that we can check ourselves, at certain points, you know what I'm saying to you? So, I think it's good to have the different viewpoints so that we can actually be able to keep ourselves in checks and balances, right? We don't want to run all the same way, because then that is a group think, right? So this is why the panel is really important, because it allows us to be able to see different sides and stuff like that as well. So, I just think that in future panels, I'm saying to you, I think this is good to have that kind of be able to have enough of regulation to be able to go back and forth sometimes and understand it. Because as I'm going back and forth, I'm seeing your point. I understand what you're saying. I now get what you're also saying. I don't agree with you, but I understand where your viewpoint was coming from. So I get it, and I can take it into consideration. You know what I'm saying to you? So, very much like we had a conversation with Ramsey's situation. Again, it's taking it into consideration again to see certain things in a different way. Do you know what I mean? So, I think that, listen, next week's going to be another explosive episode, I'm sure. And it will have us all in our places of what side we're sitting on. And we will have, again, different points of view, I'm sure, because we all have characters that we either identify with or triggered by. That's why we love these shows. It's why we love talking about Married at First Sight and Ready to Love and Love is Blind, because we choose characters that either fit us or they trigger us. That reminds us of somebody. Alan reminds me of me. You know what I'm saying to you? I know a girl called like Madison. You know what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? Like, I've been played by a girl like Madison. I understand. Like, you know what I'm saying to you? But you know, but we are triggered by different things, or we are identified different things. And I think we all do that, right? Like, you know, some of us like KARLA, some of us don't like KARLA, some of us like JUAN, some of us don't like JUAN. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, it's across the board in that aspect as well. So I think these are great conversations to have as well. We are reaching our conclusion though, because it's 2 minutes 53, and we have come to a conclusion. But let me just read my last 2 super chats before I let Deacon, sorry, Deacon. Do you know what it was? I was trying to think of the name we called you, Triple D, and I couldn't think of it, and Deaconess came out of my mouth. I'm so sorry, bro. My bad, bro. My bad. Patent Leather Project with Latoya Deshawn says, I don't know how to gift membership, but I'm sure someone will teach me. Just want to show support. I just want to support, people who want to be part of the amazing channel. I will put the link in there for you, Latoya, as well. I think I've pinned it, actually. So if it should be pinned. Yes, it's pinned. So, Latoya, just use another device. Use like either your iPhone or iPad or your laptop, and it should be allowed to do it from there if it's not working on your phone or whatever you're using to do this. Another one said, Rose said, people rather have Alan continue to suffer, in the relationship than see Michelle vindicated. And exposing the truth is nasty work. Oh my gosh. I definitely hear that. I hear that. We do want Alan to suffer indeed. You know, he should suffer in his lifetime. Now I'm only playing. Look, again, I'm gonna let what do we call Deacon last week? I've forgotten his name. We had a name for Deacon. We had a name for Deacon.
And let your memory let your memory
say it again,
Deacon Daddy. Deacon Daddy Davis.
Now you wake
Deacon
up.
Daddy Day. Deacon Daddy Davis.
Your own friend.
Deacon Daddy Davis. You see me? I'm comfortable, you know. I like to. You looking handsome today, brother. Okay.
Oh,
you know.
wait, I was supposed to say that, Sean? You want to let it rest?
No, don't be obtuse, D-Way.
I am being obtuse.
You know good and hell well. I could not stand that name.
That was the definition of being obtuse. I sure
It
was.
definitely was. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself.
Shout out to Valerie Shepherd as well. She says, thanks for the fun, y'all. Great combo as well. So don't worry, later I'll put the timestamps as well, guys. You get to see me and Sean tussle a little bit, go back and forth. It's been a little while. So yes, Deacon Daddy Davis, if you would like to give us the
Alan calling Juan an exotic dancer at the resort. This is getting uncomfortable for me.
Hey, what's wrong with you on the poll, Sean? Huh?
Everything. What's right about it? What's right about it? Everything is wrong about that.
Well, the brain is looking strong, sir. So I'm gonna let you do what you do best.
Absolutely. Listen, you know, we agreed, we disagreed. I think a few of us disagreed more than we agreed, but hey, it is what it is. And I think that's what makes life, that's what makes the world go around, you know, hearing different opinions and seeing where you land. I think the most important thing, I think we can all agree, is that be true to who you are. And in marriages, faithfulness is paramount, right? Be faithful. You know, that is definitely one of the main parts of your vows. And if you cannot be in said marriage, then leave said marriage or try to find a way to work through that marriage. But do not find someone outside of your marriage to make that marriage, to make yourself whole when you're empty. Last but not least, I think an important lesson we learned is to dig into ourselves, look in the mirror, look at how our actions line up to what the words that we say. And if there's a disconnect, there may be an opportunity for us to see it differently and do it differently. And challenge yourself to look at something that you never thought you could, but unpack to see if it's a possibility to make yourself better. Back to you, Coach.
Thank you very much, Sean. We appreciate you. Well, we appreciate you. Listen, it's been an entertaining conversation. I'm sure we're going to chop it up behind the scenes as well. But listen, we had 600 people in the room for the tussle, for the conversation, for the different POVs. Listen, this is one of the greatest shows on the earth. You know what I'm saying? Just somebody would have said, this is one of the greatest shows on the earth. Okay, they said Ready to Love is the greatest dating show. This is the greatest panel on the earth. Okay, there ain't nobody does it better than we do. Okay, all right. So make sure you tune in again on Saturday night for Ready to Love. I'm sure we won't tussle as much as we do this week, and this particular thing, but we probably gonna tussle again next week on this as well, because there's more to come from Married at First Sight. And thank God for Sean and El Cid for pushing me this year to be on Married at First Sight, because last season was drab, but this season has carried its weight. If you guys are watching Married at First Sight Australia, join us on Sunday at 3 p.m. EST. That will be 8 p.m. EST for those of, well, 8 p.m. sorry, UK time, GMT. We're talking about Married at First Sight Australia. If you want to hear some opinions, you thought this was crazy. Wait till you hear my dark art summaries on those people there. I'm talking about it all, bruv. And I'm telling you, people are doing footsies. People are out here cheating on their partners. Like, you gonna hear some dark art stuff. So if you thought I was excusing cheating today, wait till Sunday, okay? It's gonna be intense. But no, listen, on Sunday night, we're doing Married at First Sight Australia. Myself and El Cid as well will be on her channel, but I'll link it to mine as well. But come and join us at 3 p.m. EST. Saturday, 8 p.m. EST is Ready to Love as well. So we're going to talk about the next episode as well. Then next week, Thursday, we're back again with Married at First Sight. Let those who are on who have YouTube channels, El Cid, any other projects? I know we got Married at First Sight, but any other thing that you're doing this week that people should know about?
Yes, Friday night, Ready to Love, right after the episode, Jay and I do a quick cap. That's not always that quick. And it's on Jay's channel, Another Round JS. So check us out there. Of course, KOJO's doing Ready to Love, but I will be dropping Love is Blind on my channel, LCID932. Each episode will be a recap. And of course, Married at First Sight Australia. Again, Australia brings the heat. If you thought this with Michelle was hot, you ain't ready for Australia then.
Thank you, El Cid. CWAY, you got anything that's coming up? I know she might be a little bit.
Hey.
Hey, CWAY.
Nothing coming up. You can't hear me?
Oh no, sorry. I was saying let them know. Apologies. That's my fault. It's my fault. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah, you guys can follow me on my YouTube channel for your sports and pop culture content. I talk about current events, and of course I do my sports content. And always follow me on the Tick of the Talk. That's where my larger community is. Same name. It's Seaways World Esquire. I've seen a couple of you come over from that last night's live. I appreciate. And Apple Store has just added TikTok back to y'all phones. So if you got your app deleted, you can now get it and update it. So if you ain't got TikTok, you can get it now. Get it now while you can. And join me over there on TikTok. It's a really fun community, guys. And we have a lot of fun over there. So it's Seaways World. Let me know that you joined from KOJO's channel so I can say hey. And yeah, over there.
Thank you, CWAY, as well. I appreciate it. So, do you have anything you want to let people know that you're doing or anything like that they can support?
Yeah, I do personal development coaching. My work centers around helping women break free from self-abandonment, live life on their own terms. I really like long-form content in the form of newsletters. So I will be revving up my YouTube channel more. But for now, you can just go to my Instagram, go to Latoya Deshawn, click the link in the bio, subscribe to the newsletter. It's lit. I'm 30 editions in, and it's only getting better. I also will have like a private monthly get-together for women so that we can just talk and kind of like use it as a space to support each other. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know if EASTON or Trey have anything you want to promote. No, Trey? Yeah? All right.
No, I would just say, listen, I move in silence, plugging the rest. I'll see you before you see me. I wish everybody blessings and just peace be unto everybody. You know, I may get animated here and there, but I am the person of balance. Just balance in life, balance in love.
We love that. And we love that.
Stay safe.
Well, I did have something I did want to say real quick.
No, don't let it be about a show. Don't let it be about a show now. Is it about some promotion?
So Coach and I are going to have a Red Pill spinoff and we want y'all to subscribe. So just
Get the
tune in for that.
That's definitely
He's gonna have
coming
Deacon
because
Daddy
you
trips.
ain't none of the homework tonight. Definitely coming. He's supposed to do all that.
There's no
misogyny and
spinoff, by the
work
way.
with
You're
misogyny.
making a guest appearance on a weekly basis.
right here.
So you don't need a spinoff. Thanks.
Y'all are trash. Shout out to Sally Maggie as well. She sent a $1.99 super sticker as well. Y'all gonna start putting your PayPals on these messages so people can actually start sending you stuff, because I'm gonna make sure we promote that for them to put PayPals for you guys as well. You know what I mean? Because you know it's always good so that they can celebrate y'all as well, and show appreciation. So next panel, please have your PayPal in your Venmo or your Cash App. Well, you don't do Cash App anymore. You said, isn't it? You don't do the Cash App anymore. In there as well. All right, so that they can also support you guys
They're gonna
as well
request
going
money
forward.
from Easton for pissing them off.
And should.
They gonna ask for some money from Easton. Easton got no money, baby. He part of that 200, 300, 400, 500K brand. You know what I'm saying to you? It ain't Easton. He got that David money.
Nah, basement money.
Shout out to Dave. Shout out to
That's
Easton.
not existent, Kojo.
Easton got the money. No
got
prayer,
money
my
to
boy Easton
blow.
now. Yeah, you see him screens behind him? You don't even know that boy's in the
Well, you
Matrix.
said he has David money, though.
That's why he's triggered.
I should have said King David money. All right, cool. Listen, we gotta go. We gotta go. Audience members, we'll see you again on Saturday night again, and we'll see you again very, 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 very soon. Okay. Shout out to Kendrick for the performance on Super Bowl. It was amazing. I loved it. Bye bye.